Major League Rugby YouTube. It's early, 5 minutes before kickoff, or maybe even 7 minutes, depending how things go. They're in Miami as Miami are playing DC. That is Miami Sharks against Old Glory DC here in this Eastern Conference clash. It's coming towards the playoffs. We've only got this weekend and then one more weekend left in the regular season before those playoffs are in July. Miami is still in the hunt. They need to beat DC today and deny DC any kind of losing bonus point or whatever it might be. This is the MLR YouTube watch along. Myself, Will Hooley, a former player in Major League Rugby, San Diego Legion and USA Eagle. I'm doing it now the other side of the fence. A little bit different, this broadcasting, as we aim to try and connect with you guys, the fans, and also everyone out there, from past players to YouTubers to rugby social media influencers, you name it. And as you can see, we've got a bit of a list going on from those names. None other than Ryan Marius, good friend of mine, former San Diego Legion and US Eagle. We've got Mike Petri coming on as well. He'll be joined by Ben Holden a bit later on. Mike Petri, obviously a commentator at MLR, but also USA Rugby Hall of Famer. Ben Holden, very much one of the voices of Major League Rugby. We got Evan coming in from Rugby Nudge. Go and look at Rugby Nudge. Amazing work that he's doing there with his page. We've got Nate Brakley. Nate Brakley, former New York Iron worker, and then, of course, USA Eagle. Mentioned Ben Holden already. Jeff Thornton. Go and check out Jeff at QSN. The work he is doing on YouTube is amazing. He literally goes into rugby as an American who maybe hasn't seen it before. He's there and he's giving his way of saying it. I just love what he's doing on there. We got Lance with Great American Rugby. He's doing so much work in the grassroots and actually based in Fort Lauderdale. So he knows this Miami Sharks team pretty well. We got Dylan at Barsal Rugby. Again, the work he is doing in terms of the content creating across grassroots, college, and everything that is here, rugby in America. We've got Nick Benson, MLR CEO. Enough said about that. He'll be coming at halftime. And then Jacob from Rugby Expo. Wow. If there is content to go and see, you can watch him literally in the middle of a rugby game wearing a headset. It's pretty impressive. Yeah, we've got a full action lineup. And there's also a very special guest in there we haven't mentioned, which I'm looking forward to bringing on, hopefully, a little bit later. So look, this is a trial. This is a test. We're trying to do something a little bit different with Major League Rugby. So bear with us. It may not be perfect, but what I can say is that we are going to do our best. Everyone in the team who's connecting us, we've got this round, got this together, and hopefully we're going to have a really good game and something, just as I say, just a little bit different. But just bear with us as well. I'm looking forward to bringing on my first guest, which is going to be a good buddy of mine in Ryan Marius. I mean, literally, Ryan is known so much across the USA rugby landscape, and he is still working with San Diego Legion as part of their community foundation. He's also working within the Imagine Rugby program that is growing the game. So great to have him on. As we go and watch this match, Miami against DC, it really means something. As I say, we're hotting up to those playoffs coming up. And of course, on the 4th of August, we have the championship final at Snapdragon San Diego. Who will be there, we shall see. There's lots of things as well coming up throughout this weekend. Make sure you go to the Rugby Network, where you'll be able to see the matches here in Major League Rugby. It's week 17. There's also games, of course, on Fox. There is just loads of content that's out there. There's shoulder shows, shoulder content, or I should say, in terms of all access. There's the Rugby Rundown. We are really trying to bring you as much rugby as possible. It's all very exciting. Now, hopefully, I'll be joined by my first guest pretty soon, Mr. Ryan Marius, when he is available. And we'll get going. And this game is about to kick off between Miami against DC. As I say, joining me, Will Hooley, on this watch along. What can go wrong? Probably a lot, but we're going to stay in it. There we have it. Ryan Marius, talk about what can go wrong. Well, the first guest is on. We've done it. Right, guy, thanks so much for joining me on this watch along. How are you doing, buddy? Still in San Diego. We're only down the road, but we're on a different link. How are you doing, my man?
No, I'm good, man. I'm excited. I'm excited to be a part of this opportunity. I mean, this is where the sport's growing and growing, and yeah, I think this is going to be
Now,
incredible.
as I've already said to the audience who may be tuning in right now or coming to watch this a bit later, YouTube, such a great tool here with MLR, giving that visibility that's going on, but also hearing it from us as former players as to what's going on in this rugby game. What is happening? And I suppose for you, Ryan, the first question before we start looking at these teams, like how important is it that we try and get rugby out there and grow this game?
I mean, it needs to be accessible, right? It needs to be viewable. It needs to be digestible. People need to be able to see this on all different sorts of platforms. Everyone has their preference. Some people like to watch it at home, some people on the go, Instagram, YouTube. It needs to be everywhere. So having accessibility of rugby is
I love
integral.
it, man. Love it. You're such a you do the gospel work for rugby in this country. There's no doubt about that. And also, right, this game is really important between the Miami Sharks versus DC. I was just explaining to the audience earlier that Miami actually, as a first-year franchise, can still make the playoffs. They need things to go their way. They need to win today, and it starts with a big bonus point win. What have you made of this Miami side? What you have seen in Major League Rugby this year? You know a couple of guys there as well. They're a good outfit.
No, they are, and I think the biggest part about a group coming together and starting to get some results is having a good vibe. And I mean, what a place to have a good vibe. I mean, I've seen the aftermatch kit. They're in
I love
proper
it.
Miami Vice attire. They got the asado going. I mean, the vibe is definitely there. Boys are saying the accommodation's great, and so you and I both know, right? Is if players are happy off the pitch, you're going to be getting some really good results on it, and I think we're starting to see that here with
It
this
is.
group.
And then DC. DC are a funny one in terms of haven't always been perfect throughout this season, but they seem to be just
Mhm.
turning it in the right direction recently. Like, again, you know a bunch of guys. Everyone knows you, but you also know a bunch of guys the DC setup. Like, DC, they're in the playoff hunt. They need to cement themselves. They can do that today by getting a result.
Yeah, DC's been one of these teams where even the past couple years they can put together some results. It's just the inability to do that consistently, and it's looking like they're able to do that as of recent. So obviously, as we know, this game has some major implications. But I have you already made your pick yet? Have you and Forbes already done your picks?
I
I've been
don't.
a bit.
I'm a bit worried now that whoever might be on in terms of because I know obviously if you're Miami Sharks, plenty of South Americans, right, Ryan. Like I can't tell how excited I am. I'm going to bring on a very special guest actually just after you. So if you're an Argentinian rugby fan, we're in the presence of a legend coming on very soon. But I have actually picked against them. I actually think DC are going to win this one. What do you reckon, man? I like. I don't know. I just find DC are playing well. Great win against Dallas last week.
That took a lot of guts. I mean, them having the ability to close out a game like that with a rising Dallas side. I mean, I do think this one's going to come down to the wire. I think fans are going to be in for a really big show.
Go
Man,
on, say it, man. Give us something.
I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go. Ben C was my old roommate. Oh man, I'm gonna go Miami.
Oh,
I'm gonna go
okay,
Miami.
right. So
Yeah.
Ben seemed obviously work at DC, but nah, screw that. You're going straight to Miami, are you?
Sorry, Sema. Yeah, I'm gonna give Miami the shot
Oh,
here.
there we go. Well, I mean, it would be so good to be fair, seeing a first year franchise in Miami Sharks coming on board. But I suppose just before we start this game, we look at the lineups. Like Ryan, for you, I think it'd be good for the audience. Like, I know what you were like pre-game. Like, what did you feel in the pre-match? How are you feeling just before you coming on the field?
Oh man, just completely. Usually pretty nervous, but always just trying to remind myself that I've done all the prep. I've done everything that I needed to do to be successful on the pitch. But I try and just vibe with the music. Try and make sure I just stay in connected with my teammates. Keep myself in the moment. Not allow the pressure of the game or the pressure of a test match. Not allow that pressure to come into my thoughts and just try and just focus on what I want to focus on.
Love
So
it.
here's your
Yeah,
lineups.
indeed. There's some really good names in this lineup. None other than that back row. I love that back row in terms of Bonasso, Pryor, and Ardal. We know, obviously, Dan Pryor from the Legion. But this back line, I really want everyone to keep an eye out. The two South Americans at 9 and 10. The Argentinian rugby star, Cabelli at number 9. And then Videa, the Chilean international. But, I mean, he broke USA Rugby Hearts during the qualification back in 2022 because he kicked that goal. Quick one here then with DC, Ryan. There's some good names in this team, bro. There's some very good names in this team. None other than keep an eye on Rob Hardley in the second row, the former Glaswegian legend. He was like all-time appearance holder. They just won the URC today, by the way, Glasgow Warriors. Congratulations to them. Also, keep an eye on that back row in Cory Daniel, Fernanda Schultz, and Bavaro. They're sensational. Number 10s, I will always talk about them. Jason Robinson's been brilliant with the boot. And Tommaso Boni, the Italian turned now American. He's now a brilliant start for the DC Old Glory. Simon Cross has got quite a lot going on. So what do you reckon those lineups, man? Some names that you know. Who should we keep an eye out for?
I mean, Jamma and Cory Daniels, I mean, obviously two most physical, athletic guys on the pitch. I mean, Dan Pryor, Matias Fiere, old teammate, you know, a couple of those guys. But no, you're right. This is going to be I was trying to say, I mean, yeah, Chicken's back at the fullback. I like that. I like Chicken at fullback.
I think he's not there at the moment. I think they've gone for Damien Hoyland at the number 15. Oh, no. That must be a late change. You're absolutely right. Dibalas is in there. My bad. Did I just see that?
And Dan Pryor, the Predator. The Predator creeping back there.
DP's in there. Actually, again, Super Rugby fans will know the Blues won Super Rugby today. So shout out to those Blues fans. Obviously, Ryan, you've spent rugby everywhere. You played in New Zealand. You played in the UK. You're a well-traveled man, my man.
Hey, one place. Look at this. Look at this setup, man. Look at this field. Look at this. Look at that ground. See, like that's
into Miami.
This is why I want Miami to win. Like this is a franchise setup. Like this is a place that rugby can really take root and like grow into something. I mean, being at the same grounds as Messi, what they play.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's into Miami. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
No, it's proper. Proper setup. Proper setup. Miami now just with the first lineup. Really interesting. They're in their city kit. Oh, little one down the front. Interesting.
Love that.
Interesting. Let them play on. Yeah, I do like their city kit they're in. You see this new edition kit they're in? Miami Sharks? What do you reckon?
That's pretty sweet. When did they lock down Visa? That's a big.
I think it was quite early, man. I think
that's a big deal.
Did. Great deal. So again, what I like.
I saw it on McNulty's IG.
Oh yeah. McNulty's Sean McNulty's on the bench. So this is interesting in terms of like the weather conditions in Florida at the moment. I was thinking there might be a bit of kicking because I thought it might be a bit moist. So interesting, Cabelli's already gone to the boot. And again, Buckley's got a really good kick, number 9 for DC. So I'd be interested. What do you reckon? A bit of a kicking strategy? And then as a winger, Ryan, what are you thinking? You love a kick chase.
I love a kick chase. My high ball stats probably weren't too great, to be honest, for the diehard fans out there. No, but like this, as I'm going up for this ball, I'm just praying that my inside forwards created a nice little nest for me to basically push around. And then if I'm chasing on that ball, I'm just hoping someone was lazy so I can just have a direct line straight to that thing. I don't want any traffic. I don't want anyone trying to disrupt that
protect the catcher. Absolutely. Bit of ping pong at the moment as Jason Robinson just sends this. That's a lovely kick as it just goes out on.
Wasn't he in France?
He was. Actually, that's a good point. Jason Robinson, look at that view. That's a little drone footage Miami are using. Love that. Here we go. Let's have a look at those. Oh, that's decent. That's 82 Fahrenheit for Fort Lauderdale. That's cool. I would say that's cold for them this time of year. Interesting in terms of lineouts in this situation. First into the game. Like, who's that? Big Dan Pryor in the middle. Again, I'm just interested for your side of things. How do you like getting into the game as a winger? We talk about kick chase, or is it just get your hands on the ball early?
Yeah, I want to try and get a carry very early on. Like, I don't care if I'm in my own 22. I don't care where I'm at. I just want to carry the ball and just get that first carry under my belt. Try and just beat one person and then just build myself into the game from there. Definitely not kicking first touch of the ball. That's for dang sure.
Don't down yourself, man. Like you had a boot on you. You could run kick pass, but you know what I loved about you, Ryan, is that every time you would always ask me for the move. Even like nearly. Who was that? That's gone forward. What I love is that you were never the best with the playbook, my brother.
Honesty call. Here's the thing, okay? Because hey Ryan, we need to learn the plays at 13. I'm like, okay, sweet. Okay, right wing, okay, left wing. And you got all these coaches that want to draw up 1,000 different plays, and we only use one every game. So I'm over here stacked with like 40 different roles, and maybe we use one.
Hey, for all the kids watching out there, know your role. Know your role.
Know your role. Hey, role clarity brings confidence. Confidence brings calmness.
Yeah, that's pretty much spot on. Spot on. Oh, there we go. Somewhere around there. Right, so DC have a scrum just inside their half. Bit cagey this game so far. Interesting in terms of like Jason Robertson, he's like such a threat, both at the line, but also his ability to kick as well. Obviously, we've seen him score drop goals, match winners with his boot. Again, in terms of standout performers, like these halfbacks, you all know Connor Buckley as well, but Jason Robinson's pretty outstanding for DC at number 10.
No, Connor's been a great example of a 9 who's come through the system. Seen him in high school, in the college, into obviously Rugby United New York. But really exciting to see some of these young halfbacks coming through the pipeline and being able to start and produce on a Major League Rugby team. And then, you said Jason Roberts, like the guy's a triple threat. It's like Patras, right? It's like he can run, pass, kick, chip kick, grubber kick. He's got flash, he's got consistency, and he can just completely open a game up.
That's what you need at number 10 as he goes straight to the boot now. So territory clearly something DC are looking for. Great to see Matty Freya back on the field, fullbacks, former San Diego Legion. He was known as Silk, by the way, for the Legion, because he was so good. Just, wow, what are DC doing now? Holy moly, what are they doing there? Risky business. I was just talking up Matty. He was so
the fire and fuego.
Absolutely.
Muchacho.
Very interesting tactic from DC, going for the quick line out and just shoveling it into the midfield. I'm sure Simon Cross,
that's when
will hate that.
That's when Will Hooley's just shouting, just like, slow it down, set it up. And I'm over there probably like calling for like, oh, I want the ball. You're like, no, slow it down. We are exiting.
Here we go again. Jason Robinson with the boot. They are clearly coming with a kicking tactic, DC. It's a big gap, man. Like they need, both teams really need a result. There he is, Videa, the fly half. Now, I just alluded to earlier. Now, this might roll all the way.
You hate to see that.
Just Videa, the fly half, the Chilean, like just explain to the viewers how he broke USA hearts a couple of years ago, right, guy?
To be honest, I kind of blacked out during that game. I'm not joking. Like not because of I was under any sort of influence. I was panicking and freaking out. Like, man, there's no way that this is about to happen. And the game just completely just
insane.
Yeah, that was tough to watch. But really excited to see the direction that the team's going on now. They've had some alignment camps, and the communication to the players and also the alumni has been phenomenal. And super excited about the trajectory.
Absolutely. So Videa knocking out with Chile, knocking out USA of that World Cup qualification. As now finally we got Miami with a little bit of attack. It was a good high ball with that knocked on. Like the humidity, just emphasis now. We got one more minute with you, Ryan. Just the humidity as catching the ball is so hard. It's like the ball's like a bar of soap, isn't it?
Well, it doesn't help if it's a brand new ball. That's it. If ideally you have a ball that you used like at least in the week of training, so it's a little bit more broken in. But a brand new ball with any sort of humidity or rain, that thing is a legit bar.
There we go. Right, well, we might have you for this last scrum move, and then I'm very excited to who we're bringing on next. Not that you haven't been amazing, right, guy? Like just coming on, such a natural. I'd like to see you do more media, please. I want to see you on the sidelines a bit more. Would you be up for that?
Always. I'm always here. Anytime anyone needs anything and has anything to do with rugby.
I love it.
I'm
Well,
right
let's
here.
just wait until we see how Miami strike. Looking forward to seeing. I want to see Capelli run with the ball, the number 9. So much experience. Oh, wham.
Yeah, those are the ones I love. I love those ones. Little shoulder ball off 10.
Lovely
Give me a
hands.
10, 12 on a grip.
Ardao, he's off.
Hey,
Go on, big lad.
here it is.
Just need a composure now. Just need a composure. They're literally in the right area of the field. Here we go. Watch out on this left-hand side. Also, number 12.
Now give me a Dan Pryor. Give me a Dan Pryor no
Yes,
look
that's
offload.
exactly what we need.
Come on, DP. Give me some razzle.
We're just going to keep you on here, Ryan, until this play is over. There you go, DP. Get yourself on there. Just need to generate something quick. Great defense from DC at the moment. Bavaro and Cory Daniel have just tackled everything this season, by the way. The back row for DC. Watch out, number 12 from Miami. Here he is, Orlando, the Argentinian international. Gets shut down by Cory Daniel.
Cory Daniel, former wrestler, as is Michael Smith, as is Nate
There you
Augsburger, former wrestlers, as is Nate Sylvia, former wrestlers.
There you go.
Man.
Hey, look, it's
Machines.
turned over. Ryan, it's turned over. We're going to leave you. We're going to jump in with our next guest. You've been a legend. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming on.
Cheers.
So as Ryan exits, we've got, look at this, Pablo Mata. Pablo, oh, it's honestly such an honor having you on. Argentinian legend. Also are you playing for the Honda Heat at the moment as well in Japan? Obviously just finished the season. Is that correct?
Thank you, Will, for bringing me in. Yeah, I'm playing in Japan at the moment, so enjoying the rugby down there.
Love it. I love it. I love it. Now, Pablo, first and foremost, you know a few guys on this Miami Sharks team, Cabelle at number 9 and Orlando at number 12, as playing with them for Argentina. How good are these players?
Oh, they're a great player for us. They play a lot for Argentina international
here we go.
team.
Just hold on. We've just gone through the middle. Sorry to jump in for you. This might be a chance for... There, just someone's killing the ball. Sorry, Pablo. Just interrupt you right in the middle. There we go. Penalty from Miami. Keep going, my man. Sorry about that. Great break from Miami. Yes, you were saying about Cabelle and Orlando.
No, I'm as excited as you. I know the Sharks need a win today, so hopefully they take this chance.
They've got to, man. They've got to win. And as I say, that captain, Cabelle, he's obviously, you've played with him at Argentina. Like, how good a leader is he? He's obviously captaining his Miami Sharks team as well.
Well, he's a very experienced player, obviously. Been playing everywhere in Australia, Argentina, maybe like 90 Cup for the Pumas. So I'm sure he can lead the Sharks to a great game and hopefully 5 points.
Now, as Videla literally lines us up, that's an easy 3 points. I suppose it's so awesome having you on, by the way, with Major League Rugby. All Major League Rugby fans want to know, though, someone like Pablo Mata, do you fancy playing in Major League Rugby maybe in the future, joining your Argentinian friends at Miami maybe?
Well, I love Miami, so you never know. I know the rugby there is just growing every year and getting very excited. So hopefully it keeps that way, and you never know.
In terms of, have you been to Florida and Miami then a few times? Like, you've gone to visit?
Yeah, a couple of times. I've been. Last year was my last one. I also took my sons to Disneyland, so obviously a place that we love going and visit, and we always enjoy.
Fantastic. And what also, let's go back in terms of talking about Argentina rugby. This Miami team is very passionate. I've played Argentina. I've played South American teams. What is it about Argentinian rugby? Why are you guys so passionate? And sometimes it's not always, sometimes there could be some ill discipline, but all the time you guys just throw yourselves at it.
I think we're just very passionate about our rugby. We love contact sports. We love every sport. We know we might not be the most skillful or the best players in the world, but we just go as hard as possible with a lot of passion and pride for for a flag. Well, that's something you American guys know how to do.
Yeah, well, look, it's being a patriot. I absolutely know that. Great work here from Miami. As they just kicked the ball. No idea what happened in that maul there. Literally great defense going in. Hey, Pablo, when you're thinking about early stages in a game, the first 15 minutes, obviously you've been a leader as well. What are some of the key things that you'd be saying to your team? Is it the basics or discipline? What would you say?
It looks like both teams are trying to win territory. They want to play in the other half, so it's about making sure you get the ball, have a good shape, and win that territory battle, that kicking battle. I think Miami Sharks is doing quite well. There was not a lot of ball in play on Miami Shark half.
Oh, here we go.
Hopefully,
here we go. Pass inside. Try time, Miami. Yeah. There we have it. Our first try here on the MLR Watch Along, and I'm joined by none other than Argentina rugby legend Pablo Mata. Try scored by Benny Bonasso wearing a scrum hat. Now, fun fact for you, I don't know if you know Bonasso, Pablo, but Bonasso is Argentinian but plays for the US through his dad's connection. Do you know Ben Bonasso at all?
I've been watching the last couple of games, so I think Miami Shark has some good individuals, but mainly I think they look that they're all playing together. They stick to the plan, and you can tell what they're trying to do. So they took that opportunity. It was an opportunity to play, not to kick. So they took it, and I'm glad they scored. Yeah.
Great try. In terms of your experience as well, playing in an Argentina team or whatever, do you prefer to be playing in structure, or are you like you like to just see what's in front of you and just play? What kind of player are you? What do you prefer?
I think you need to obviously have that structure that put everyone on the same page, but you need to be ready to take the opportunity if it's in front of you. And I think that's make the difference in the game, especially when both teams are. It's a very tight game and defense is going hard. So you need to make sure if there's one or two opportunities in the game, you just take them.
Absolutely, that's exactly what Miami Sharks did there. As now DC just come onto the attack. It's interesting, Miami trying to bring a bit of line speed. Oh, here we go, turnover time. Again, here we go from turnover, just moving it to the edge. But that's a wonderful pass. As looking at, so now here's the structure that you want, as you've been saying, like get into your pods of forwards. Like, is that what you're thinking? Like you're trying to work around the people around you, and then it's from this structure, you then play what you see in front of you.
Yeah, I think the structure gives you that chance of realizing where the space is.
Just a knock on in the end.
Videla is making some good, making sure the team is playing with a good structure, but also adding some speed when there's space.
Absolutely. Just knocked on at the end there. I think it was Dan Pryor, unfortunately. Hey, Pablo, while we got a little break in play, so what is your plan now? You finished with the Japanese League. Argentina test matches, hopefully coming up soon. What have you talked to us? What's your plans this summer or this July and August coming up?
Yeah, so we have some big games in July. We're playing France twice and Uruguay for the third game. So it's going to be some big couple of weeks. I'm waiting for Orlando. I know he's had 2 more games with the Sharks and then he's joining camp.
Oh, is he? So he's going straight into Argentina camp?
Yeah. Orlando's. I think they're playing Chicago next week, and he's coming to. Will depends.
I was about to say he might get in the playoffs, Pablo. You can't bring him away. Oh well, I guess Argentina.
I know, but I think playoff is after that. After Argentina games.
Yes, after those games. So you play. So you say you play Uruguay. Did you say you also play France? No, did I get that wrong?
Yeah, twice France and one against Uruguay.
That's awesome, man. And you're going to be doing this all in Argentina. How good is it having those Argentinian fans behind you?
It's amazing. Yeah, playing back home is big for us. It's important. Yeah.
It's fantastic. Well, look, Pablo, it's amazing for you just to come on, man. I know it's getting late in the night for Argentina, where you are at the moment, preparing obviously for those internationals. As we just watched the scrum just go in, we'll wait until the scrum is over. Here we go. Maybe a play now for DC, not going out the back, keeping it short and sharp. I would love to see you, Pablo, play MLR though. I'd just love to see you come to the MLR. So can we try and get you across maybe in a year or two, or maybe a bit longer? I don't know.
I think so. I think that can happen. Yeah.
I love it, my man. I love it. Well, look, Pablo, I will let you go. I want to say thank you so much for coming on this Major League Rugby YouTube watch along with myself. Miami Sharks 10-0 up against DC. Pablo Mata, Argentinian back row legend. Thank you so much for joining me, my man. Take care.
Thank you for having me. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you, my man. So as Pablo just exits off there, as now you can still probably hear me, Pablo's going to exit there. So good to have Pablo Mata. I mean, go and have a look at his clips on YouTube, on Instagram, whatever it might be. He melts people for fun. He literally embarrasses them. He actually he used to have a little moustache as well. He's obviously got rid of that. He's honestly a monster. And one of Argentina's genuinely best players, played at Crusaders as well in New Zealand. He's traveled around a fair bit, playing his rugby in Japan. So good to have that Argentinian perspective. Obviously, Miami Sharks, plenty of Argentinian connections within them, both the playing and then also their backroom staff as well, their ownership as well. So now we have DC. Finally, they've got themselves into the attack as, wow, I'm joined by my next guest. None other than Jacob from Rugby Expo. Now, Jacob, so good to have you on, my man, because you're coming in from, are you in Johannesburg at the moment, South Africa?
Yes. Hey, Will, I can hear you now. I'm so excited to be on the stream. Yeah, I'm in Johannesburg. Am I coming in all right? Can you hear me all right?
You are sounding loud and clear. Just so you know, you've been in the presence of rugby greatness, and I'm not talking about myself. Don't you worry.
Oh, man.
I'm talking about Ryan Marius has been on, and then we just had Argentinian back row legend Pablo Mata come on this Major League Rugby YouTube watch along, which is insane.
I've been tuned into the stream, and it's been so great so far, and so is this game.
So is this game. Talk to me, man. Before we talk about you,
right.
like, what are you seeing?
Okay, let's talk first, right? First things first, my guy is playing in this game. His name is John Rizzo.
Yes.
And he's playing number 11 for the Old Glory DC. Me and him go way back, and I'm just so, like, watching through and living vicariously through him right now, bro. And I'm just so excited to see him do his thing. And I'm like, in my 10 minutes on the stream, I'm manifesting a John Rizzo try, Old Glory DC. I'm saying it now. That's what we're looking for here in this moment.
Hey, it might happen. It might happen. DC has still got the ball. They haven't had that much attack inside the Miami half. What have you made of Miami then? They've started well. Oh, here we go.
To be fair, it's been such a back three game. Like, as you've seen, it's been this ping pong, left and right, back three game. Wingers are all kicking very well. So here it is. John Rizzo, swing it. Go, John. Go, John.
Oh,
shit.
Wait, okay. I don't know whether you might be a little bit behind us, Jacob. I realized because I was saying earlier, I was like, you might be a little bit behind us. Don't worry, man. You're coming in from Johannesburg, so you'll probably see it a little bit after when we see it. We're having a drinks break just now, a hydration break in Major League Rugby. Happens every 20 minutes, so you'll probably catch up. Do not worry about it. I tell you what, I'd love to talk about with you, Jacob. Like, Rugby Expo, let's just have a chat. Go and check out your page because it's amazing what you do. You're in playing rugby currently in South Africa, and there's a camera that follows you everywhere, and it's like we're in the game with you. Explain a little bit to the viewers.
Yeah, if you guys haven't seen it, the whole concept is you guys get to live through my eyes, right? So American rugby player versus New Zealand. So I played a season in New Zealand, and now I'm in South Africa. I played a season in England, and the whole concept is you get to kind of play the game through me. So online, if
Amazing.
you get to watch it, the whole concept is to make you feel like you're on the field with me and give the viewers that experience that they're really in the game, coming along for the journey with me and scoring the tries with me, making the tackles with me. And I'm just trying to create this immersive experience to bring those guys to the forefront of rugby and really show how great our game is.
Oh man, that is honestly this is what we're doing here on this watch along. Like, we're bringing in former players or even current players, but also like you guys, like the content creators. You're growing this game so much. As I say, go and check out Rugby Expo. It's just incredible what you do. So
Thank you,
I
man.
just want to say, on behalf of someone who's been in the game, played the game, and still in it, as such as broadcasting, whatever, I just want to thank you. You're doing so much
Thanks, man.
good work. Now we're into the second 20 minutes of this first half, my man. Like, what are you expecting from these two teams? Miami lead by 10 points. You said there was a lot of kicking. What did DC need to try and do you reckon, try and come back in the game?
Okay. All right. Honestly, maybe this is bias again, but I want DC to spin it wide to my guy, John Rizzo. I think he's so dangerous ball in hand. And I think the space is for Old Glory DC. They have a great forward pack that could get them on the front foot. As long as they spin it to the wings outside, they have a great chance to score points against Miami. And I think that's what they've been lacking in this first 20 minutes of the game. That's my opinion.
You just got to get the ball to John Rizzo. I mean, hey, Jacob, you know there are 14 other guys in DC colors, but
I agree. There's 14 other guys, but my point is the Old Glory DC pack is strong enough and big enough to put them on the front foot, and I think they're going to do that. Once that happens, then you do my plan. You spin it to John Rizzo, and we let it fly from there. But I honestly think that's the step forward for Old Glory DC. On the flip side of things, I think Miami's off to a great start, and their danger man is the other wing, Eric Naposki. Yes, I think he's also great with ball in hand and so capable as well. And here we go, another bit of this kick back and forth.
Yep. Here we go. Actually, I'll just play it on from here now. We got a break. We got a break from Miami down this left-hand side. Some great hands.
Miami try. Could we see it right now? Oh, man.
Oh, he's thrown it into touch.
That's brutal, Will. That's brutal.
Oh, my days. Oh, they've gone quickly as well. What is happening in this game now?
Oh, man. Spin it wide. Go to John. Send it wide for him.
Hold on. This is... Oh, wait. It's back in Miami's hand now. As they move it to the edge. This game is
there he goes. What do you think, Will? Do you think Miami gets this try here?
I think
or they turn it over before they get it?
They've knocked it on. They've knocked it on, my man.
Here we go.
Again, DC now on the counter-attack.
Oh, no. Did he drop it?
Oh, my word. Literally, the ball's like a bar of soap, Jacob, out there. Good fun, though. What are you making of it?
I don't know, Will. It seems like they can't get a grip on this ball. I don't know what kind of ball they're using out there. The Gilbert ball must be covered in butter. Absolutely covered in butter.
Maybe so. I love the use of butter as well.
Maybe so. Let's see the replay here. What? Yeah, look at this pass, though. This is the pass to make. That's the try time. What happens here, Will?
Here we go. Verdea, the Chilean international. He's been playing so well already. You know what? Nakali, the number 5 for DC, does so well. He does so well to get back, the big man for DC. He almost gets in the passing lane. So once...
Verdea, I see what you're saying.
Look, he's just... No, not quite. Not quite. Jacob,
what do you think, Will? Are we putting the blame on the passer or the catch on that one?
I would say you put the blame on the pass. He probably shouldn't have passed it in the end. It's a shame, but yeah, not to be. Hey, before you go, Jacob, I just want to get your shout out in terms of Major League Rugby. Great competition. You know, guys in this league. You know, how much is it growing?
It's incredible to see how far the U.S. MLR has come. And even pro rugby in America has taken so many steps from the previous professional league. And I'm just so glad that MLR is on this path to success and profitability. I think we both want to see the MLR players get paid what they're actually worth. And I think the MLR is finally taking those steps towards that goal. And I'm so glad to see the MLR pushing forward and the players finally realizing what they're worth. So it's
That's awesome.
it's great to see the MLR heading in the right direction, in my opinion, Will.
That is awesome. Jacob, you've been awesome. Make sure you check out Rugby Expo. You've got well over 200,000 followers on Instagram. Some of the content you're creating is exceptional, my man. And look, you are in Johannesburg, so it is late at night. I'll tell you what, last thing, are you only supporting DC in this game, or do you think Miami can hold on and they need a bonus point win to try and get in the playoffs?
I'm going to tell you right now, Old Glory DC is winning this game. They're coming back. They're down 10-0, but they're coming back to win this game. And John Rizzo's going under the sticks.
Love it, my man. Love it. Okay,
under
look,
the sticks.
Jake, we will let you go. We've got another guest hopefully coming up soon. Thank you so much, buddy, for joining this MLR watch along. Take care. All the best.
Thank you, Will. You're the best. Appreciate you guys. Go DC. All right.
Take care, my man. Here we go then. Great to have Jacob from Rugby Expo come on. Honestly, the content he's creating is just out of this world good. Literally, you're in it. Appreciate him coming on as he exits from the screen. And we look to bring in someone new pretty soon to deal with us on our technicalities as Jacob just goes off. Right, so now we've got a line out for DC just inside their own half. And actually, I would say maybe there's a bit of wind out there because I think DC is struggling to really exit out of their own half. They've tried to play the ball a little bit. We've already seen a bunch of knock-ons that are happening. The ball is clearly going to be a bit sweaty. It's humid out there in Florida. Even though it's not too hot today, it is still humid. Just also a shout out across the league that this is our second week of doing a YouTube type game. Next week, we've got another one. So keep an eye out for that. And also the tickets are now on for Major League Rugby Championship, which is in San Diego. I'm based here in San Diego, and I can confirm it is beautiful. It is sunny. You've got to come and join us on the 4th of August for the championship final, where also DJ Marshmallow is going to be appearing as well. That's just been released. So all great things to come. Make sure you go and watch, of course, Major League Rugby across the Rugby Network. It's free to sign up. Go and see your US MLR games. Honestly, you won't regret it. It's good rugby out there. So good just having people on as well on this watch along. We are coming with Lance from Great American Rugby. We're just waiting to see if he can jump on. Forgive us if there are some technical slight challenges. This is a first time of doing this watch along with Major League Rugby. As we have a line out for Miami, they're going to look to try and exit. 25 minutes done on the clock. They are leading 10-0. And now they have the penalty. Great to see Rick Rose in there, the second row, wearing the red scrum hat. He was, of course, from the draft, a Major League Rugby draft last year. So good having him. Such a tall guy, speaks so well. If anyone's met Rick, I'm telling you, his presidential type speech within him. I would back him on any kind of big speech that he needs to give. But he's also a fantastic rugby player through the MLR draft system. Watch out for plenty of things coming up with that MLR draft this year. There is Rising, which is like a combine event going on in DC later in July. So that's some of the best American college talent coming together for a week's training camp. So there's lots happening here in Major League Rugby as now Miami have a little bit of an attack inside the DC half going down the blind side. We're still waiting for Lance from Great American Rugby to hopefully join us. I mean, I was talking earlier about Rugby Expo being fantastic in terms of content. What Lance does with Great American Rugby is exceptional. He's growing the grassroots. He really is actually based in Fort Lauderdale as well. So he knows this Miami team well. And he's also just such a good man. You know, talk about growing the game. It's not just the players. It's not just the ex-players. Not just even us as broadcasters. It's also about those guys behind the scenes, the grassroots, the youth, the schools, whatever it might be, and getting rugby visible. That's what we're trying to do here on this Major League Rugby watch along with myself, Will Hooley, as it's Miami Miami's got the number at the moment, 10-0 against Old Glory DC in this Eastern Conference. Big showdown. Miami have to win this game. They have to win it ultimately by bonus points to even try and stay in the playoff hunt. DC coming off the back of a brilliant win last week against the Dallas Jackals. So here we have it then with Miami. Keep an eye out for Orlando in the midfield, the number 12. There he's going to the ruck, the Argentinian international. As they now just build some phases to the short side. Lovely ball over the top. Just forward. Just forward from Miami. Still, unfortunately, struggling a little bit with Lance coming in, but don't worry. I'm amazed we've gone 26 minutes and not had a technical problem. So we're doing all right so far here on this first Major League Rugby watch-along that we're doing. It's week 17 of MLR. And if you just joined us, it is absolutely hotting up in the West and Eastern Conference. Here in the Eastern Conference, we've got Miami Sharks. First-year franchise. First-year franchise. Who wouldn't want to go and play rugby in Miami as well? Spoke earlier to Pablo Mata, who is honestly just such an exceptional star for Argentina. And he was joining us earlier. He reckons he might try and come along to Major League Rugby. So we shall see. We shall see in the future. Is that Juan Hernandez? It might be, actually. Argentinian legend in terms of number 10. Go on, Sharky. Actually, no, I shouldn't say Sharky. Is it Sharky? Yes, it is. Here we go. Look at that. Bit of entertainment here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So this is the Inter Miami venue. As you can hear the commentators talking about it as well. So obviously the home of Messi, Argentinian connections galore. It just makes sense. Love the City Edition kit as well that Miami have got going on. As again, unfortunately, we can't bring in Lance for the moment. Double checking whether we can still go and grab him at some point. Bear with us, guys. I say, hope you're all enjoying this. A little bit different, bit of fan engagement. Honestly, the first three guys we've had on, we've had Ryan Marius, San Diego Legion, and former USA Rugby star. We've had Pablo Mata, Argentina star, back rower, been to multiple World Cups, nearly 100 caps for his country. Insane that we just had him on. And then, of course, we had from Rugby Expo, we had Jacob. Some of the content he's doing is fantastic. Unfortunately for Lance, it looks as though we are struggling to get hold of him. But this may be not his fault. It might be our fault. So, Lance, if you are hearing me, my man, I apologize, or we apologize. He's doing such good work, as I say, with Great American Rugby. Do go and check them out, check him out. Some of the work he's doing within the grassroots as well. He's also a player. Good quality player as well, Lance. I've seen you, my guy. I've seen your highlights. So go and check him out. Great American Rugby. Penalty then to DC. Interesting. They've been really good at scrum. And in particular, number 3, Stephen Longwell, former DC, played with DC not that long ago. Left, went to Bristol Bears in the English Premiership, and then came back. Recently joined, probably the last handful of weeks. He's made such a difference to that DC scrum. Jack Ascaro there, number 1 in the Eagles squad. The Eagles obviously coming up. They're playing. They're obviously playing USA Eagles this summer, Romania and Scotland. Well, unfortunately, we didn't manage to get Lance from Great American Rugby. Lance, if you are hearing us, my man, I'm sorry. Definitely get you on another time. But we do have another rugby social media influencer, as I like to call them, in Evan from Rugby Nudge. Evan, can you hear me? Can you see me?
Hey, Will, how's it going, man?
I love it. What the audience don't know is that you've recently just had a tree fall on power lines, and you've somehow managed to still join us. Now, have you been keeping an eye on this game a little bit? Have you been a bit sort of trying to connect, maybe?
No, mate, I've actually figured out a nice solution to the old power outage. I came down to a local hotel here, and they were generous enough to let me in on some free Wi-Fi. So I'm parked up in their hotel lobby right now, and yeah,
So
coming through nice and clear.
you told them you've got the race to the playoffs and Major League Rugby YouTube watch along with Will Hooley and Friends. Is that what you told
Yeah,
them?
they
And
understood.
they
They understood. Yeah.
Now, as this scrum goes in, really, it's a really interesting game. There's been a lot of kicking. There's been quite a few errors as well. What do you make to the Miami attack? There's some really key quality players in there.
Yeah, mate, I was going to say, it's actually been nice to see how expansive they're playing. And of course, they got my boy Eric McCloskey on the wing. And
Yes.
if there's anyone that likes throwing the ball around and being an expansive kind of rugby player, that's him. I remember me and him used to bicker and argue all the time about sticking to structure, and he'd say, "I don't care about structure. I just want to run it." So that's his nature, and I think this is the team for him by the looks of things.
You know what? It's funny when you said that about structure, because we just had Pablo Mata on, who I keep talking about because I'm completely fanboying him. Like, literally, I was like, the fact we managed to get him on today is insane. And he was just saying, what a kick by Jason Robertson, by the way. He was saying how, like, actually being in structure is what you need, but the importance is playing what's in front of you. You have a structure, but then you got to play what's in front of you. So actually, it's kind of a bit of a balance. Do you know what I mean?
100%, man. And that was like, I was a 10 myself, like you, and that was the key kind of cue going into a game, is I got to find my balance at both sides of, yes, having a good structure, but then equally, like you said, being able to look up and see what's in front of you and look for the opportunities that you can't predict. So yeah, great shout, man.
No, that was great stuff from him. Turnover there. It's strange because Rob Harley, the former Scottish international, usually so good with his line out. Not saying it's his fault, but clearly I think Miami are getting the better of him there. Here we go. Matthias Freyer having a counter attack. So good to see him. Play with him at San Diego. He was known as Silk, by the way, Evan, because he literally just breezed through contact.
Really?
He just literally slippery eel. As now
How are
Miami.
you feeling about your transition from San Diego to this broadcasting scene, man?
What a question, man! It's different. It's great. It's great being part of the broadcast team here at Major League Rugby. So many great people also do it in. We've got Mike Petri coming up and Ben Holden. They're just a couple of names that are involved. It's something which I always envision. Oh, he's just missed touch there. Jason Robinson, you do need to be hitting touch off penalties. There's maybe a counter-attack opportunity. I'll come back to you. Hold on in a minute, Evan, just about that. As now DC, can they spark anything from that counter-attack? So just missed touch from Jason Robertson. And then another drop ball. That, I feel like, could be the sort of story of the game. Hello, 50-22 time. Is it? What?
Oh, wow.
Oh, my. Robertson is literally hanging on, the number 10 for DC. Was that Cabele, the international? I think it was. What a kick for a 50-22. Reminder for viewers.
Game changer right there.
Reminder for viewers, Evan, you'll know this, but if you have a kick outside, if you're in your own half and you roll it into the 22, so that's the line. You can see the thick line there between the try, the goal line, and then where Miami was standing. So he manages to roll this into that zone out of play. That means they get the ball back for the lineup. That's why 50-22 is so good. So now Miami go for attack. What do you reckon here, my man? Try time? Woo! Try time. Talk me through it, Evan. Now, I do want to come back to your question earlier, but at the same time, pretty impressive play for there from Miami.
Well, mate, it just goes to show the power of a good nudge, right? I think it's so crucial to have someone who can kick like that. So, yeah, absolutely flip the field there and try off the back of it. I bet the coach will be super, super happy with his... was it the 9 that kicked that?
I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was from their big number 8, Dow.
Incredible, man. It's, yeah, that's a game changer right there.
So there we have it. That's a massive, massive try. Really good setup. Getting it to the back. I think that's actually the number 5, Van den Hooven, getting it up there. And then, yeah, that's good quality set piece. Good to see Miami as Videla tries to line this up. And it's conveniently going to come back to you here on Evan, because talk to us about Rugby Nudge. What is it about what you're doing? Some of the content you create, buddy, is awesome. Give us a snapshot as to what you're doing.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Rugby Nudge all started from just a burning passion for the craft and art of kicking. And I used to do it after school every day, and I do it so often that one day I was like, I just got to share this with people. And I did that through the medium of video, and my social media page, Rugby Nudge, is obviously where you can find all that. And it kind of grew into something that I never expected it to become. But yeah, all started with a passion for kicking, man. And that story has kind of unfolded into many different things at this point, to the point where I started playing college football. So yeah, all from kicking. So it's ironic that 50-22 there is kind of happened nicely as we're talking about it, man. So yeah, it's good.
I think it's brilliant, the connection you're bringing between college and college football, I should say, and then also rugby is so important in this country. As we just see Ardell just get it over the line there. Jason Robertson was almost saying, hold on a minute, he might have knocked that on. But honestly, I think the content you're creating is brilliant. As someone who did kick in rugby, how different is it though kicking in football as in American football?
Yeah, it's way different, man. Like I was quite humbling actually making that transition, because I thought, I'm pretty good at kicking a rugby ball. How hard can it be to kick a football? But there's subtle differences, like the shape of the ball, the amount of time you have to kick, the situation you're in with people just sprinting at you in half a second. It's pretty overwhelming, and getting used to those subtle differences was a lot more of a ask than I thought it would be. But yeah, through just committing to trying to be better and enduring through that adversity, I ended up doing really well. And yeah, it's one of those things that I'm glad I tried, and what an experience it was, man.
That's awesome, man. And as I say, great work you're doing with the content you've got. So we're coming towards the end of this first half. It's been a few mistakes in there, sweaty ball, as I've called it, bar of soap. And here we go. We got this attacking scrum for Miami. Always good having a center field attack so you can pick each way. Videa gets it out to Freya. Freya has a left. That's the key thing. You have a left-footed kicker. You can move it to the edge and kick on the edge. As Chicken, Dubelas tries to counter-attack. Does okay.
Chicken?
Yeah, known as the Chicken. As now finally DC come away. We'll come back to that in a minute. Yeah, he's known as Chicken. That is just how he's known. He actually introduces himself as Chicken.
Nice.
Here we go.
Committed
DC.
to the nickname.
That was a lovely bit of attack. Finally, they're getting something going. Just when Robertson's on the front foot, he's such a good ability to just pick a hole himself. Well, that's good defense.
Will,
for Miami.
tell me how much Miami would need to beat Old Glory by in order to make the playoffs.
Well, they need to. Here we go. Sorry, hold on. Cory Daniel just going all the way on his own. Finish it.
That's got to be.
What? How's the referee not given that? He has given that. There it is. Ask the question on the buzzer of a line break, Evan. Unfortunately for you. What a try, Cory Daniel. He's been so impressive in DC. Have you watched Cory Daniel a little bit in your watching some MLR?
Mate. I haven't, unfortunately. I need to do better with keeping in the loop with it.
He is a tackling machine, but he's also just done an unbelievable line break. Watch this as he just gets, I think, a little tip ball. No, it's just a break
for a big man.
No way. It was, just hold on a minute. They might have a little look.
Was he carried over by his own teammate? Yeah?
I think so. Maybe they might be looking for double movement.
Yeah.
So no, they've given the try and the conversion stand. So there we have it, 17-7. Hey, look, we're going to have you, Evan, just before the half time, because we've got a very special guest coming on at half time. Apologies that you kind of asked the question right in the middle there. Far away another one, because they all get a bit exciting.
No, I was just saying, how much would Miami have to beat DC by to make the playoffs?
So they need to get a bonus point out today and deny DC anything, which at the moment they're on track for. And at the moment, 17-7 at half time. Hey, look, Evan, it's been so good having you on, buddy. I know it's been short and sharp. We thank you for making such an effort. Look at those pictures coming in from Fort Lauderdale. Yeah, please stay in contact with us and good luck in everything, my man.
Thanks, mate. Awesome. Appreciate it.
Cheers, Evan from Rugby Nudge. Great to have him on. As we were just seeing DC get that line break from Cory Daniel for that try. Kind of a bit out of nowhere in the end, you could say, DC. So 17-7 to the Miami Sharks. As Evan's just exiting us. And then we are going to have as our halftime show, if you want to call it that, Major League Rugby CEO Nick Benson is going to join us. We're going to talk a little bit more about Major League Rugby. I hope you're enjoying this watch along here on Major League Rugby YouTube with myself, Will Hooley. We've had already a number of guests. As we now welcome in another guest, pretty important guest, because it's Nick Benson, CEO of Major League Rugby. Nick, it's 17-7. The Sharks are still clinging on for the possibility of getting into the playoffs. So good for you to join us. I know you're in Utah at the moment. Maybe that's the first question for me to you is, how impressed have you been by Miami Sharks' first year in the league this season?
Yeah, I mean, on and off the field, they've done exceptionally well. They have, on and off the field, they've done exceptionally well. If you go to one of their games, the crowds are amazing. The game day is amazing. The party, they've captured what South Florida is on the field. They've grown over the course of the year. Here they are at the end of the season. You couldn't script it any better. You have the East with 3 teams still in play for 2 spots. It's exactly what you want the end of the season to look like. It's great.
It is. It literally is. It's so competitive this season, Nick, and I can say that from a personal experience, having played in the league. Having the extra team, obviously Miami, but then also Anthem as well. As some of these adverts come screaming onto the screen, it's like, just bear with us. Hopefully we could just down that volume a little bit. But I just want to know from you, Nick, just like how the competition has been this season. What's impressed you so much overall with Major League Rugby 2024?
I think if you look at the competition over the course of the year, I think it's the closeness of the individual games, the progress that we've made in terms of the quality of play on the pitch. This is by far our best year. It's growing by leaps and bounds. You're seeing it every day. You're seeing it over the course of the season. A new team like Miami comes in with incredible talent, incredible coaching, and it still takes them half a season to get up to speed. They're there now. They're competing for a playoff spot. You couldn't have scripted better for the end of the season. When you look at what's happening on the field every day, it's dynamic, it's exciting, it's fun. You don't know who's going to win, and that uncertainty, that's what you want. Every game to be uncertain is what keeps your heart in your chest as a fan, right?
Absolutely. It really is going down to the wire. Obviously building towards these playoffs. Snapdragon Stadium in San Diego for the final on the 4th of August. There's a certain DJ. I'm sure, Nick, you're a big fan of DJ Marshmello. I'm sure you listen to his music regularly. But in all seriousness, hey, what an occasion it's going to be on the 4th of August in San Diego.
Yeah, listen, Marshmello is, an incredibly popular act. We're excited to have him. Maybe I'm not quite in his target demo, but but his music is really great. I'm looking forward to meeting him. I'm looking forward to seeing the show. San Diego, over the course of the last 2 years, has really put on a masterclass in how to bring your community together around the sport. How to invite your city to come be part of the rugby community is how I like to think of it, and they've done a masterclass in that. So I think they're going to excel at hosting the final. Snapdragon Stadium is our premier venue in the league. San Diego, the weather's always great. I don't think you've ever had a bad day. So we're incredibly excited, trying to build on what we did last year. Last year we launched our first sort of deliberate neutral site final. We had Shaq, we had the Dropkick Murphys, Diesel, and it's about making it more than MLR, more than making it a celebration of rugby, a celebration of MLR, and a celebration of everything that we've built over 7 years. We couldn't be more excited.
I think that's spot on. It's not. It's about the event. I honestly think as well here with Major League Rugby, like, you know, we're trying things and we want to try and, you know, go above the norm, outside the box. One of these is what we're doing now, Nick. We're doing this Major League Rugby watch along of YouTube. It's exciting, something different. You know, what's your take in terms of trying these sort of new fan engagement tools?
You know, YouTube in terms of video content is the new town square, right? You know, I think for a long time you know, I'll put my hand up on this. We haven't spent enough time sort of really focusing on where our future fans are. You know, if you're looking at the demographic that we need to engage around our sport, looking at who we need to bring in as new fans, it's kids who are 15 to 25, and they're on YouTube, right? This is where they're getting their content. This is where they're discovering new content. We know historically that if we put rugby in front of American fans, in front of American kids, they love it. There's a lot about our sport that appeals to them just on the surface level from watching the visuals without even necessarily getting into the details of, you know, what's happening on the field and the kind of details and the nuances of the rules. And that's happened. We've seen that happen over and over again in person and on TV. So by going to, you know, where we want our future fan base to be, where our future fan base is, we're trying to really sort of open the top of the funnel and bring new fans into the sport. We're trying to, you know, bring new ideas to the game.
Now, to finish off, Nick, because I know you've got to go. You're in Utah at the moment. The Utah Warriors are actually playing tonight. You know, just with Major League Rugby, what we're trying to do, the stuff that's going on in the championship, it comes San Diego. All of this, of course, is building towards 2031. We all know that in terms of wanting to be a really good host and I guess really build something for rugby and grow in this country. I just, from your side of things, maybe to the audience is like with Major League Rugby, probably say, yep, it's a challenge, but how much is going on to really grow this game going to that home World Cup in 2031?
There's a huge amount happening to grow the game. You know, 2031 has to be a pinnacle event, not only for rugby in America, but for the sport globally. The United States is the last major media market where rugby doesn't have a huge and significant foothold. You know, we have to grow the game here for the game to thrive. You know, if you look at what we're doing, we have 12 teams in 12 major American markets. We've got, you know, extensive grassroots programs trying to bring new kids into the game. That helps two things. We're building a future fan base by creating you know, fan affinity at a young age, by you know, having kids come out to games, interact with, like, there's nothing better when you're a 9-year-old kid than to get to go out on the field and just throw a ball around with a professional athlete that you just watched play. We're giving them that opportunity in 12 markets. We're going to try to grow into more markets over the next few years. That also builds the baseline for our future talent pool for kids that are going to play in 2031, 2035, 2039. You know, what we need to do over the next 10 years is not only make sure that the World Cup thrives, we need to make sure that we're doing everything that we can do to make MLR competitive or better than the best rugby leagues in the world in terms of fan engagement, in terms of quality of play on the field, and in terms of how we drive and deliver value back to the fans.
Nick, look, I appreciate that. I know the hard work that you put in. I really do. It's funny when you're a player, you think, oh, Major League Rugby, what are they doing? It's like, no, I now see it. You are doing a lot of hard work, and everyone is with Major League Rugby. I really do mean that. Thanks so much for joining me on this watch along. We're going to be coming up towards now the second half of this Miami DC game. Go and enjoy the Utah game. We'll catch up soon, but thanks for joining me, Nick Benson, MLR CEO.
Thank you, Will, for everything you do.
Thanks, my man. Take care.
Take care.
So as Nick then jumps off on that feed, we're having a little look at these Sportable stats as well. So good having Sportable in the league. That's that chip in the ball, by the way. So we're getting data in the ball that can drive towards knowing about territory gain, knowing about hang time, speed of pass, speed of kick, as then Nick just exits there. And as you can see, Miami and DC is tight in the end. DC did come back in that kind of last 10 minutes, particularly there in that first half. Now, hopefully we can come in pretty soon with, well, two, I think, MLR broadcasting legends, but then equally as well, a USA Rugby legend, a Hall of Famer, Mike Petri. They will come on soon as we maybe bring into the second half when it starts. There you can see some of the people we've already ticked off that list. We've already ticked off Ryan Marius So good to have him. Big Rye guy. He really is doing the gospel work of growing rugby here in the States. Still, he was a brilliant player as well. We've had, unfortunately, Lance from Great American Rugby sadly couldn't join us. Some technical issues there. But again, go and check out his page, Great American Rugby. What he's doing is brilliant. And talking of those influencers as well, so good to have Evan from Rugby Nudge. That difference and just comparison between kicking in rugby and then American football is just insane. Love what he does. And then we also had Jacob from Rugby Expo. Loves his man, John Rizzo, the winger for DC. Again, go and check his page out, Rugby Expo. He was, doing brilliantly stuff. Great to hear from him. And then we had a special guest. We had Pablo Mata from Argentina, Argentinian back row juggernaut. He is honestly just shy of 100 caps to his name in international rugby. He just came on the watch along. Couldn't believe it. I was a little bit starstruck, if I'm honest, and absolutely fanboying him. I'm definitely going to get some jokes from certain people along that lines. So it's halftime here on the watch along between Miami Sharks versus DC, Old Glory DC. Miami need to win this game if they're going to stand any chance of staying in the conference playoffs. So that's the Eastern Conference. They need to win this game by a bonus point. That's scoring 4 tries or more. And they need to deny DC from getting anything. That is just for them to give a chance going into the last weekend that is coming up next week. So we are halfway through this watch along. If you've been with us and joining us throughout, thank you. I hope my dulcet tones haven't turned you off too much. Maybe it sent you to sleep. It doesn't matter. That's fine. That's all part of it. Good on you. We've had some great guests. As mentioned already, we have some other guests still to come. We're going to bring in Mike Petri and Ben Holden very soon. They've actually just recently commented on a game, and I don't know the score in that Free Jacks versus NOLA, or should I say NOLA versus Free Jacks, the other game happening in the East. So I'll be very interested to see what they've got to say about that. As well as we look into this second half of Miami against Old Glory DC. So much talent across the board. There's been a few mistakes. It's a bit humid going on in Fort Lauderdale. And big shout out, of course, to everyone connected with Major League Rugby. Go and follow on social media, ex-MLR. Go and check us out, obviously, on this YouTube site. Then on TRN, the Rugby Network as well. That is a free platform. Go and sign up. Go and watch ex-MLR games on there. Plenty of other content as well. Shoulder content like shows, best clips, best tries of the action. We just had the PWR Premiership Women's Rugby Final. That was on today for TRN Plus subscribers. Yes, you can subscribe for a very small amount of money. You can get extra content in terms of live content and also shoulder content as well. So Premiership Women's Rugby happened today. Go back and watch that. I don't want to spoil it. It was Gloucester Hartpury against Bristol Bears women. We've had the Gallagher Premiership Final as well, not that long ago in England. That was Northampton Saints against Bath. You forgot there. So yeah, that was great to get all of that on the Rugby Network. As I say, go and check that out. And the other thing as well to say is the 4th of August. I really am plugging here. I'm trying to do my job. Remember, everyone, you're watching me. I'm wearing my MLR crest. I've got to do this. So we have got 4th of August. We got the final championship game. It's going to be a cracker. The best of the East versus the best of the West in San Diego Snapdragon Stadium, 4th of August. Those tickets are up. And Marshmello is the DJ. Now, Nick Benson's a massive Marshmello DJ fan. That's what I've been told. That's the CEO of MLR. So great to have Marshmello come on. Check him out. Over 30 million followers, I think, on Instagram, something like that. He's going to be in San Diego. He's going to be part of our championship game to finish the season in Major League Rugby. Now, it looks as though the players are coming back out or are back out on the field for the second half of this game between Miami and DC. My name's Will Hooley, former player here in Major League Rugby with San Diego Legion and USA Eagles. Don't let the accent fool you. I still am very proudly represented the Eagles. And we are hopefully going to be joined relatively soon with Mike Petri and Ben Holden, MLR broadcast heroes of mine, but also Mike Petri, of course, USA Rugby Hall of Famer. So hopefully we can get them on. They have literally just finished with broadcasting themselves. So it might just take a couple of minutes to get them going. as this second half is going to get underway. I've not had any kind of drink or anything. I'm still going. I'm still speaking. We are still doing this. We've still got a second half to go. And I think as a player, like as it's getting now a bit late, the humidity will get even worse. It's about for DC trying to get some control on the game. And I mean that just in terms of the basic errors they're making. Their lineup hasn't really operated that well. Go to what you know. Go to what you know. What has worked well for them this season, which it has. In the last few weeks, they performed really well. So the likes of Rob Harley, former Scotland international, Jason Robertson, the number 10 from New Zealand, there he is on screen, need these guys to control their players in what's going to be difficult handling conditions. Meanwhile, Miami, they have the lead. They know they need to get at least another couple of tries if they're going to even try and maintain themselves in this playoff race, I should say. So here we are in Fort Lauderdale in the evening. Wherever you are joining us, thank you for joining us. Leave maybe some comments in, some questions. Keep it PG though, please. If there's any of my mates in there, please go away. We don't want your comments coming in. But we want you to get involved nonetheless. So Miami then exiting. It was really a bit of a kicking duel in that first half. Now Jason Robinson, does he have a chance to squeeze himself through a gap? As now DC get on to the attack inside Miami's half here in Fort Lauderdale, where it is looking sweaty. It's safe to say that. But can DC find something that brings them again into this game? Cory Daniel's try, the end of the first half, got them on the board. Now getting into a bit of shape. Out the back plays, looking pretty good. William Talataina just banged into touch. Very good defense from the Miami Sharks team in their City kit jersey, their City edition. Really impressed by that. Bright colors, Miami. Great to hear. Say Nick Benson, CEO of MLR, was on. Just got all good things to say about Miami. The fact that they are here in Major League Rugby, having rugby in Florida. What they've done, what they've set up is fantastic. And I'm sure everyone's probably a little bit jealous. Who wouldn't want to watch rugby or be involved in rugby in Florida? But the issue with Florida is it's humid and it's struggling to get the ball in play. We have Mike Petri and we have Ben Holden. Now I can see if you boys just squish closer together.
We're gonna have to like layer here.
Just if you guys could like
forward.
kiss, then well, what I'll do, I need to hear Mike. Mike, if you can hear us, and we can see Ben as well. Thanks so much for joining, guys. Tell me, Free Jacks New Orleans, who won?
Nola won by 10. Yona kicked about a 54-meter kick with probably 3 minutes left in the match, and it was nails, man, from straight on, and put them up 10, and they locked up second.
They've locked up second, but are they still in contention to maybe get first in the East? Nola?
They are. They're gonna need New England to lose to Anthem next week. So
right, that's a bit of an ask. There we go here. And here we go. Miami now on the attack, guys. You've literally just come in when a lot is happening, a lot of slippery ball because of the humidity penalty there. Hey, look, Mike, let's bring you in. USA Hall of Famer. So good to have you on. An MLR broadcast legend. In my eyes, an inspiration. Mike, so good. And look, tell me from a scrum half perspective, like what dealing with a humid, slippery ball, like it's a nightmare. What did you try and do when you were playing, dealing with humidity?
Yeah, the humidity is just miserable. I like playing down in the South, in Miami, places like Florida, places like Texas, places like New Orleans. We were talking about this in the last game. Their ball just gets like a bar of soap, right? I spend a lot of time like drying my hands off as best I can. When they came out with those shorts with the fancy grips on the back, I used to like wipe my hands with the fancy grips on the back of like where my hamstrings were. And then I use a lot of that spray that the physios use on the to put tape, like to hold tape in place. I would spray that along my hands and my forearms, just give a little bit of an extra grip. But then what happens is if that gets like dirty from grass or something, then that's useless too. So probably the worst conditions are humid because you just can't grab the ball. It's just awful.
Oh, trust me, man. It's honestly, especially this time of year, it's only going to get worse. As DC now come on the attack. Hey, Mike, while we still got you as well, what have you made of this DC side? You've had them a few times commentating. They're a bit hit and miss, and they're still a bit hit and miss as Miami come away with the ball. What have you made of them this season?
Yeah, DC has been inconsistent, but I do think they've got a really strong team. If you look at their lineup, they have some really good talent throughout it. They've got some really good backs, especially. And I really like their back row. I've been really impressed with Cory Daniel this year, the open side. I know he just narrowly missed out on that Eagles tour in the summertime, but he's been an absolute workhorse for them. And I think that their playmakers that they've got there with both McVie and Buckley at 9 give 2 of the best 9s in the league, I think. And they're just, they can be fun to watch when they're on, but like you said, like they've just been pretty up and down throughout the season. So they're here now. They're down right now in Miami,
Well,
which is not ideal for them.
They're definitely helped by the fact that Jason Robinson banged in a 50-22. I mean, how important is he, the number 10, to DC doing well?
Yeah, he's instrumental to what they do. I think that everything obviously always, as you know, revolves around your 10 and every team that you play on. Like when we do these head-to-heads every week, you could just pick fly halves every single time and be like, they're the most influential in the game, right? But the reality is Robinson is a huge part of that organization. And that's with all due respect to anybody else that's in those roles. I know that they have several players that step in to play playmaker often, but Robertson's, I think, the sort of pulse of what they do in Washington, D.C.
There we go. As we just have Miami just managed to come away from there. Hey, Ben, let's bring you in now. DC just can't seem to finish it. Again, we're preparing more guests coming on as well later. But hey, Ben, look, you are, I call you the voice of MLR. How good is it, man? Like this competition has been so hot, and these two teams, Miami can still, if they get a bonus point try win, they can actually make it in the Eastern Conference into the playoffs. So, like, how good have you made it as a broadcaster?
I think it's great. I mean, we're doing Dallas and Utah here at 10 Eastern, and you look at Dallas, and they've had 8 matches that they've been in, and they've got a losing bonus point in all those. So that tells you, number one, they're able to hang in pretty much every match, and they've lost some, but they've won 2 or 3 that have been down to the death. And so I think everyone's competitive. And you look at Miami in their first year, and they got a shot to make the playoffs. So that, to me, that says an awful lot. And Dallas 2-30 in their first 2 years. And talk with Nate Osborne. I know you did too on your entities, and he said, "Look, we threw everything out the window. Guys were like, hey, we'll do whatever we got to do to get better." And they've thrived under Nate running their attack. And I think they're going to be a problem for whoever they play in the West. Yeah. I mean, they can score with anybody, as we know. And I think it's competitive as it's ever been. I've been around the league in a full-time capacity really for now, I'd say 2 years. And back in 22, I started doing more matches, but the last 2, I've been around it an awful lot more, and it's gotten better and better. And every week, I mean, even tonight, Will, I mean, it was a 7-point deficit for New England. And there was a part of us that were kind of like looking at each other in here, like, yeah, they get a try here. They can pull this out, but they just didn't get over the hump. They didn't get over the hump tonight, and they made some mistakes when they were inside the 22. And, look, you can say, hey, they didn't have 5 guys in their lineup that are normal players, but it's part of what's made New England so good, as we know, is they build their depth. They give guys opportunities to play. And Sean Rolfe got one of their tries. I mean, he came in at hooker. He's basically their third hooker. And so he came in and gave him some good minutes. And Oscar Lennon came in and played, and he gave him a good run too. So I think it's super competitive every match. And, I think in our match later, you're going to see Utah. What a great guy Greg Cooper is. You would think his side's in the playoffs after the conversation we had with him today, and just so positive. And, you're gutted, obviously. You're not going to the playoffs, but he was incredibly positive, and I think they're going to try to put on a show for their fans here tonight against Dallas. Should be a fun one.
Love that for you, man. I just loved your enthusiasm whenever you talk about Major League Rugby. Hey, let's talk a little bit about this game, Miami versus DC. And want to go back a little bit to Mike, just in terms of Mike Petri very much knowing everything about the dark arts of the scrub. Is he just gone? Is he gone? He's gone to the restroom. How dare he? He was already over this watch along. So I've got Ben Holden, which is fine.
He left me.
What, Ben, I'll tell you what, I'm liking the way Miami, they're coming with a lot of heat in defense. The humidity's making it very hard. What a take. Matty Freya, what a catch. They just look like that South American passion is really brewing, my man. What have you made of Miami?
Yeah, well, I think I can't remember if it was you and I or Petri and I that did the other match when they played in DC, and it was when Robertson had the kick with maybe 2 minutes left in it, and I walked away from that match. I think that was the week I did the show with you 3 weeks ago, and they're physical. They're a problem. I mean, they're showing you right now. They're up by 10. I'm looking up at our monitor in the studio.
Go. They're literally just, again, coming off the line, penalty towards Miami at the halfway mark. I tell you what, they are only going to get better and better. I'm telling you, people want to go on, they're going to want to go and play in Florida. Who wouldn't want to go and live in Florida? And then
no
also,
income tax.
Oh, there it is. There's other reasons. And obviously nothing to do with the beaches. But yeah, they're going really well on this one. Hey, look, Ben, and whenever you see Mike, I appreciate you coming on this watch along.
Here he is. He's coming back.
I just want to say, guys, good luck. I know you've got another game coming up. Mike Petri, Rugby, USA Rugby Hall of Fame. It's so good having him on. And also Ben Holden. Guys, thanks so much. I'll let you log out. I'll let you click off. I'm going to bring in my next guest. Thanks for joining, guys, on the watch along.
Thanks for having us, Will. Thanks.
Take care, guys. Take care. There we go. As Mike Petri and Ben Holden just exit from the screen now. We've got Miami, who are just entering inside. They're 10 meters out now as they get this driving maul going. If they put this score in, they need 2 more tries in this half. And now I'm joined by my next guest. Now, look, Jeff from QSN. Just hold fire a little bit, buddy.
I got
because Miami is pushing this slowly towards a potential try.
Did he get it?
They've knocked it on again.
No.
They've knocked it on again.
That's great. Last in judgment, man.
Jeff Thornton from QSN, as a little bit of afters goes on. People not too happy. Jeff, I've brought you on because you're another, influencer, YouTuber. You've done some great stuff with rugby. Please go and check you out on QSN on YouTube. What have you made of this game so far? I know you've been watching.
Yeah.
It's pretty insane at the moment. It's pretty tight and it's sweaty.
Yeah, you said it perfectly, man. The humidity is definitely having an effect on the game. And like you said, the ball is super slippery, and how the man Jacob said it, the ball is buttery, right?
And, who uses that word, buttery? I mean, I might with my English accent, but there you go, man. Hey, look, what's impressed you? You know, like these driving mauls. We're coming to you in a minute about how you found rugby, but what impresses you with like these big guys, line outs, scrums? As the referee's going to have a little word with DC here as well. But like, what impresses you with this facet of the game?
Well, you know what really impresses me as I've studied the game more and more is the amount of pressure and tension that these players are under at a given time, especially like in a scrum. Because when I think of like my background is playing college football, and we think I had to push a sled, and like pushing a mechanical sled it's tough enough, but when you're pushing a human body and they're pushing against you, just the amount of pressure on your calves, your Achilles and quads and like hammies, I feel like my body would just fall apart and shatter. So for these men to have that amount of weight on their neck at this time, that's what really blows my mind about the strength of these men and being able to hold it for that time under tension. So it's impressive to me.
Now, what I love about you is that you are so you illustrate your passion. That's how I would say it. You watch rugby, go on your channel, you literally do this. You kind of watch rugby games and react to it, as we are kind of doing now, as much as also just grabbing people on, telling their stories a little bit. But as DC get a big penalty there, so Miami just coughed up a little bit of territory, could have maybe used that and try to get some points. But like, what have you made of this great game, rugby, here in Major League Rugby, but just in general as you found this game?
You know, I've absolutely been loving it. It's completely different from what I'm used to with American football. And I talk about it from that respect where these men are gladiators. They go against each other head to head on the field. As you know, you played the game at the highest level. But once the game is over, you all shake hands. The brotherhood is solid, the camaraderie, and you cheer each other on. I think that's something that is so enlightening and great to see, because it shows the unity within rugby, and the community just comes together as a collective and supports one another. I think that's just so beautiful about the sport, and it goes to principles in life, right? So there's a lot of characteristics that you can carry over from rugby into every aspect of your life. So I think that's what I've really enjoyed about rugby the most is, you know, the personal development and characteristics that are learned in the game of rugby. And there's just the respect factor as well.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, man. Respecting your opposition, respecting the referee. We try. Not all the time we get it right, but we try. Connor Buckby lines up this monster kick in the air.
Beautiful.
Don't know how that ends up back in DC's hands. What have you made of this game, though, so far? It's still tight. There's still a lot to play for with 28 minutes left.
Yeah, I was honestly, it's caught me by surprise. I was thinking DC was going to really pull away with this game. I felt like they were like the tougher, more consistent side over the season. Miami really surprised me. They came out hot and they've kept the foot on the pedal, and they've really played a solid game. I think they're used to the conditions, like you said, of the sloppier weather where it's that thick humidity out there in Florida. So they've been able to weather the storm a little bit with the elements. So that's what's been surprising to me about this game. Miami is they're looking stronger than I've seen them in the past.
Yeah, no, well, it's their first year, man, in the league. You know, it's pretty impressive. They're only going to get better as they've also got some brilliant players. I've already mentioned one of the try scorers, Ardal, the number 8. They got Cabelli at 9, Orlando. Those guys are 2 Argentinian internationals. They've got plenty of other experiences. Now they move out to the width. Lovely to see. Rick Rose, just so you know, Jeff, has come through Major League Rugby draft. So he's MLR. You know, recently college athlete. He's wearing the red scrum hat, number 4 for Miami.
Where did he play out? Where did he play his college ball at?
I think Big Rick was at St. Bonaventure, if I'm right.
Okay.
Now, I might have got that completely wrong, and I apologize to anyone who I've got that wrong too. But he was, he's just a big human being, and he's got lovely hands. I'm really excited about his future. But hey, DC there, getting a good push, a good little counter attack and a counter rack. And I think Shabazz has done his hamstring.
It's like, it looks like, he did pull his hammy. It looks like DC, they have to start taking a little bit more chances now, especially with, you know, they're close to the 20 minutes left in the game mark. What do we have?
Yeah, 26
minutes left. If from your experience, I want to know, Will, like, how would you manage the game? Because I know you played a team, you're super intelligent and you have to structure your team. How would you start managing the game as an athlete and a player in these moments where you're down 10?
It's hard because also what you're doing is you're managing the energy levels when you're competing in such either heat and humidity, particularly with your big forwards. Like, you can't ask them to keep carrying and keep, you know, going into contact when the conditions are tough like they are tonight. So you got to try and put the ball in front of them. And what I mean by that is, like, you do have to try and kick and find space. You do have to try and kick to compete and try and win the territory game to also conserve the energy of your team. So even though you're behind on the scoreboard, what DC end up doing is they get these occasions where they build enough pressure inside the Miami half, and then that's when they can strike. They did a counter attack. They got a counter ruck. They got a penalty. And that's how you just march your way up the pitch. So they have to play rugby in the right areas, regardless what the score is, especially when it's a tight game like this. And then it's just about hitting your basics. Like this line out, DC, in previous games has been really good. Tonight has struggled. It's struggled again. So that is, wow. Miami, I think, have just dropped it.
Dang, so they have the advantage.
The ball is butter.
That's that's my favorite term right there of all. Yeah, it looks like it's a lot of mishandling.
There is indeed. But does that make sense, Jeff? Like, the fact is, like, you're trying to conserve energy when the conditions are tough, and actually playing not too much rugby is beneficial, particularly for the big guys. But you also want to make sure your kicking's on the money. As we see this line out, Ben Bonasso has been very good today, number 6 for Miami.
Yeah, that's strong.
So, but then there, look at that for a mistake, and that is a bad mistake from Ardal.
Yeah, that's especially when you're up, you have the advantage in the game like this, and DC, like what I've seen from this season, they're a tough team, so you never want to give them the chance to get back into the game, especially so close to their try zone. So it's who collapsed it right there.
Oh no, still going.
What?
No.
So question there. His elbow hit the ground. Wouldn't that be a penalty because of calling collapsing the scrum in that moment?
Yes, there has to be an element of making sure that you hold solid at the scrum. So if someone rolls their shoulder and hits the deck first, almost, then that would be a penalty. It's almost like under the pressure, they've buckled first, putting it really simply like that. I'm not going to pretend, by the way, Jeff, that I'm a scrum expert.
Yeah.
I did not put myself in those dark areas. I can tell you that when I was playing. But yeah, it's such a key component because, as you see, it's like a reset to the game, the scrum. So this for DC, they've got an opportunity. They would have made a play and organized this so that they try and play off this platform. So we'll see how they can do this. That's a pretty stable.
Yeah,
they're interesting. So that is the bind. So in the end, so what the referee has judged, that number 1 in the blue for DC, his hand, he actually pulled down the Miami prop. So he ended up having to. So it's actually like, you're not allowed to do that. You can't just pull someone down like that. So that's why a penalty to Miami is they exit away. I'm interested for you, Jeff. Like, is rugby really complicated? Is there any ways that you kind of feel like, I just wish it was simpler?
In some respects, yes. I would say there's more laws to the game that I'm trying to understand. Like, as I've gotten early into this game, like especially catching a ball in the try zone, and in American football, it's like a touchback. But understanding like how does that come out to be like a 5-meter scrum or 22-meter scrum? Understanding those intricacies of the game have been a little bit complicated to me at times. But my community has done a fantastic job because they have so much experience and knowledge of watching the game. But I do find that the laws are definitely more harder to understand, especially from a newer perspective when it comes to scrumming and those aspects of the game. Like, how's a penalty awarded in this situation and not in others? And so it seems like there may not be some consistencies in the calls. And so I just try to understand that a little bit more. I would say that's probably the hardest part of understanding for me coming in the game when I first joined in the rugby world.
And you know what, Jeff? And don't you worry. Sometimes I don't even understand. So don't you worry, my man. You're not alone. You're not alone. And I love what you're doing. As I said at the beginning, QSN, your rugby content that you're building with you're over 185,000 subscribers. So keep doing what you're doing, man. I really do appreciate that. As Miami are going to continue to try and just exit away. So what I was explaining earlier, like there is a lot of kicking involved. Oh, now that's
rough one.
That's an issue. You can't take someone out in the air. So did you see how, like, as soon as you're a catcher and you get in the air and someone takes you out in the air, then you're not allowed to do that. That's why it's a penalty to DC.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Because was he pushed into him? And even though he's pushed into him, does it still award a penalty on that one? Or is it just one of those dynamic plays that are called?
Now, that would be case at the time. I didn't actually quite. I almost want to see a replay as now some substitutes come on for DC. They are going to need something to get back into this game in the last sort of 20 minutes or so. But yeah, you can't be pushing players into people. Absolutely not. But that was very obviously, I think, as the referees just said, a dangerous tackle. Guy was in the air. You can't take him out. Even though we're very much a contact sport, Jeff, like we do have rules that hopefully protect players. Like we're here to protect players. As Jason Robinson gets a nice kick.
That's very nice kick
into this area.
A huge advantage right there. There's a lot of meters gained.
A lot of meters gained, indeed, my man, indeed. So, what's your as we now just wait? Like, what's your go with rugby? Like, what do you want to do with your sort of audience and growing this game?
Yeah, so I started off initially doing the reaction content as a one-off. Man I was working with, part of my team, my team's based in Wales. And when Louis Rees-Zammit made the transition to the NFL from rugby to football, he wanted to get my thought process on it. So it was a one-off video, I thought, but it turned into something bigger. And now that I've been in the world of rugby and just continue to grow and fall in love with the game, I just want to continue to give rugby the platform that it deserves and an understanding to the American market. Because with the World Cup coming here in 2031, I feel it's going to be a disservice to the world of rugby if we're not able to give it the platform and attention and recognition that it deserves, because these are incredible athletes, right? And they deserve to be well compensated and have the attention like when the Olympics are coming here, to have that type of presence. So I want to be able to bring it to the US market, and by the time the 21-31 World Cup comes, everybody's hungry, passionate, and we have sold out stadiums, and just get to experience the beauty and the culture of rugby, and to just give it the appreciation it deserves from the top level all the way down. So that's my goal within rugby, and just to give back, because rugby's given me so much in this short period of time, and I want to do anything I can to support the world of rugby.
Honestly, what you're doing is fantastic. Honestly, the content you're creating, go and check Jeff out. It's funny as hell. Like some of your reactions, an American, as you say, an American just watching the sport and reacting to it. As now we're trying to react as well to, it's a lot of kicking duels going on. Like I can literally, as I say, it's trying to get the territory game. So again, Jason Robinson, he's going for these high contestable kicks, because if you can win, that's a great take. But if he drops that, then that's broken ball, and that's better to attack off in conditions like this. You almost want to play off unstructured play, and you get that from, that's why you get that sort of kick in the air to compete. So that's why you'll see it a lot. Again, Videa, the number 10 for Miami, he puts this up in the air. And he's again, a good take. So it's almost like who's going to make that first mistake at the moment in this kicking duel.
And it's like that DuPont law, in a sense. They're going back and forth in a sense.
Yes.
And just trying to create that advantage. Oh, good.
Oh, there we go. Nearly a little work. Yes, you're totally right, by the way. Miami now. Oh, they've slowed it right down.
Yeah.
There's big Rick
It's a big man right there.
He is. That's the draftee, doing really well this season in his first year with MLR. As are Miami, as they come on the attack now down the far edge. Great crowd as well in Fort Lauderdale. They seem to have just kept coming in since the beginning of the game.
Exceptional turnout. And that's what I really love about Major League Rugby going to Seattle. The turnout and the fan base is exceptional. And MLR is doing an incredible job. So I have to salute everything that you're doing and the entire team. And I just thank you for allowing me and welcoming me on your show, man. You're doing an exceptional job.
Awesome.
And, I do anything I can to support you and MLR, because you are just bringing incredible value to this game, and I do anything I can to support you. So incredible job, boss.
Oh man, I love the fact you said that. Thank you so much. And Jeff, thank you so much for joining us. I think this is a good opportunity now for you to jump out, and we're going to bring in, we got 2 more guests remaining, but Jeff from QSN, thank you so much for joining us on the watch along.
All right, thank you so much, Will. I appreciate you, man. Keep up the amazing work, and we'll catch up soon. All right.
Thanks, my man. Take care.
Right, take care, boss.
So there's Jeff exits away from the stream. Great to have Jeff. Honestly, you got to go and see what he's doing, QSN. And now talk about, you got to see what QSN is doing. You've got to go and see Barsal Rugby. Dylan from Barsal Rugby is with us. Dylan, can you hear me loud and clear, my man?
Yes, sir. Can hear you loud and clear. Thanks for having us on. Hope I'm coming loud and clear.
You are coming through fantastically. Have you managed to keep a look at this game? Miami, it's been tough in these conditions, man. The humidity. What do you reckon to how it's going?
Definitely. No, it has. I've played a little bit of rugby down there in Florida. It's definitely, a humid spot to play some ball. Like you guys have been talking about, the ball is going to be wet. It's going to be hard to catch, hard to pass. And a lot of that stuff's been going wrong for both teams this game. Been a great game, a lot of kicking in this game as well, like you guys been talking about. So, just been a great game of rugby to watch, and definitely been able to keep up with it. So
it is. There's a little chip over the top. Oh, not to be, and a little break in play. You can see everyone just wants to catch a break, and I think we're going to maybe get a bit of water on as well. Now, this is the perfect time to ask you, Dylan. Obviously, Barsal Rugby. The content you're creating very much focus on the grassroots, collegiate level as well. What's your mission, my man? I think you're doing such a good job.
No, I appreciate that, Will. So our mission at Barsal Rugby is really to to grow the game. Something that Ryan Mata said earlier was to give the game more accessibility, right? Give people more accessibility to the game, and I think that's what we're trying to do here, right? Is trying to show the world, show the country, I guess, what this game has to offer. One of the things that I saw, really young growing up was that I loved, Major League Baseball players and what they brought to the table in terms of their personality, the game, all that kind of stuff. And I think that's what I'm trying to attack right here is to show everybody kind of how these Major League Rugby players, these professional players act off the field, and how they contribute to the game. It's been a great journey, been able to, talk with some real, high level rugby players, Olympians, guys girls of that nature. And, it's been a great experience being able to learn what they do to prepare for these kind of games. And then, how I can help them kind of get this game to grow here in the States.
And what do you find in terms of growing this game? What from the content side of things, as you say, making it visible and whatever, like there's a lot of talent out there, right? You're seeing it even in the grassroots and the colleges.
Yeah, no, there's a ton of talent, everywhere, across the nation, there's talent everywhere. These days we're seeing the growth become, a real issue, I guess, at the grassroots level. And so that's where we come in, really trying to capture, what the game is about. The fact that this game offers an opportunity to everybody. One of the things that I like to say about it is that, rugby is for players of all shapes and all sizes. I'm a scrum half. I'm a smaller guy. Me and, guys the size of you are able to share the field and play this great game, right? Regardless if you're a prop, you're a scrum half, whatever kind of size guy you are, girl, you're able to kind of, get on the pitch, make your break, and do your job for your team. That's kind of what I love about the sport, and that's what we're trying to capture there through the media. And so I think we're really going to see growth, like I said, is at the grassroots level, coming through those high school levels, those youth competitions, really getting these young players to attach to the game, love the game, and really want to follow it on throughout the rest of their career. So I think that's kind of where we're going with our side of things.
You are speaking so well. You're speaking a lot better than, unfortunately, the DC lineout, which is not coming off as well as it can be. Yeah. And talking about that visibility, whilst there another error in play there in this game, there's more visibility for Major League Rugby on YouTube because next week we've got Chicago versus Miami. Miami again are going to be on YouTube. So keep an eye out for that. That will be week 18. Dylan, while you're hopefully still there, he's back. What have you made to Major League Rugby this season? Like, it's been tight, and like this game is still very much up for grabs. Miami need a try bonus point to stay in the playoff hunt. It's been a competitive year.
It definitely has, Will. And one of the things that I've been seeing is the league has grown not only at the play, I guess, but at the professional level as well. This season, I've had the opportunity through Barsal Rugby to talk to some of these Seawolves players each week after their matches, in between the bye weeks and stuff. And they've basically given, the perspective of how not only the level, like I said, but the professionalism, the way this, the media is being brought into the game, the way the league is, expanding, kind of like Nick said with, the markets in America, having these teams in places like Miami, places like Dallas, LA, San Diego. It's really bringing attention to the game. And so I think, the best part about it is that all these people that are living in these cities are finally realizing, wow, I have a professional rugby team in my backyard. They produce great play, and it's a great entertainment, first of all. And secondly, this game is just all over the world, and this is the next step, is bringing it to the States. So I think the MLR is doing a great job with that, and like I said, the level of play has just skyrocketed this year. So.
It is, man. I love your passion. I just love it. This is what I wanted to do. I wanted to bring people on. We're watching a game of rugby, but I also just wanted to, for me as well, to know that, look, I've been in the pro game and I'm still around it as such within broadcasting, whatever. But you guys are doing the gospel work. So keep doing exactly what you're doing. As DC now have this scrum still inside their half, it's a kicking duel. Maybe you can ask, feel free to ask me, man, just in terms of situational, but this is a tough time in this sort of game. You've got 12 minutes on the clock. You're up against it with the conditions. It's not as though you can just pull these great moves out the bag. So I honestly think DC have got to just try and scrum hard, maybe try and scrum for penalties. You'll know about it because you play. Like, it's hard when you're behind to try and chase the game.
Man, it is. At any point in the game, you have to focus on coming back to the basics, right? Coming back to the game plan. Like some of the other guys, that were on earlier, they kind of talked about, coming back to that game plan and starting out with that initially, right? And then once you get into the game, kind of get into that flow of it, kind of like Ryan said, having that first carry under your belt, getting the butterflies out of the stomach. Once you get to that point, then it's looking in front of you, seeing what opportunities are available, and then attacking those when you see fit. I think Miami's done a great job this game of really trying to do that. One of the players I like to watch their team is Ricky Rose, #1 draft pick this year in the draft.
Physical, man.
He has been, absolutely just a menace all year long, like I like to call him. Has been, forceful in the rucks, has been a great piece of their scrum there in Miami. And, it's just been great to kind of watch that. On the other side of things, I'd like to watch, Connor Buckley and Jason Robertson, that 9 and 10 combination there from DC. They've been doing a phenomenal job as well, being able to spread the ball around. We've seen them try and get those opportunities on the wing. Where do you think, they're going to try and find those big opportunities to try and win this game here as we get to the end?
You see, I think the thing is for DC, it's just like the errors that is happening for them, particularly the set piece. Like they really are trying to rely on getting the territory. But then it's once they've got that territory, they're coughing it up. And unfortunately, I say their line-out has been something which has been going so well this season, but actually it's going to let them down. Now, the referees are talking here, so I wonder whether there's a bit of foul play involved. We'll just wait until that happens. But excuse me, I've been talking for 2 hours. My voice is nearly going. We'll find out. Really, there's still 30 minutes on the clock. They still can do this.
Definitely
we'll find out. I'm gonna have a sip of water before my voice just absolutely buckles. Absolutely
got to. No, like you said, they're talking over there. Those refs have to come together at some point in the game and try and, control some of that play, right? In a tight game like this, end of the season, a lot of playoff, not predictions, but kind of, incentives, I guess, going into this match here. There's a lot of stuff you got to pay attention to. I think the refs are doing a great job there. On the, Miami side of things, I think they just need to keep charging on the field. Their defense has been pristine this game. They've been able to, like you said, kind of control the lineout in a way. Old Glory has been real successful with that lineout this year. I've seen, their game against Seattle.
But it's letting them down today, though, man. That's the problem. It's letting them down today.
It is. And so hopefully we can see, some improvements there. They're able to get some field position here with Robertson's kick on the free kick there. So we'll see what they can do on this lineout, and hopefully they can pull something out there because they are getting close to the try zone.
Can you just see a little bit of hugging going on there? There's a little bit of afters. It's just a little bit of just checking in on you, just checking in, just saying that they're just hugging each other. Rugby at its finest. Oh, there you go again, DC.
Wow,
that lineout is suffering so badly at the moment.
Miami's doing a great job.
You asked me how they're gonna try and Miami. There you go. Wow, this game has had errors. You're asking me how DC are going to try and get back in the game. They have to try and sort out a set piece. Now, for you, Dylan, absolutely. I've got to ask you, if the championship final is tomorrow, who's in it? Who are you thinking in MLR's in the championship final?
That's a great question, Will. And, this season's been a whirlwind, like we said. Level of play has been up there. The league has been a different beast this year. In the West this year, I've seen a lot of great play. Really, I really want to back the Seawolves here. And I think I'm gonna. They've had a couple of real tight
You can't
matches.
just say the Seawolves because you do some content for them, my man. Come on, stick your head out here.
Hey, so Houston's had quite a few 2 close matches with Seattle this year. I think Seattle is just behind kind of that level where they need to bring in some of those little mistakes they're having, kind of finish out the game. We've been talking about 80 minutes of their rugby, and I think if they do that, they might be the best team in the West. Now, Houston has a lot of, powerful runners on their team. We've seen their forward pack be very, just merciful this year in terms of scoring tries, holding the mauls down and being, a beast in the scrum. So I think, that's going to be the Western Conference semifinal. Definitely going to be Houston and Seattle there. I know San Diego has been quite.
I was going to say, you just shunning. Are you shunning San Diego? Have you just done that? And Dallas, easy now, man.
Yeah, no, definitely got to be easy there on that. But like I said, San Diego's been a great team this year. Been seeing some great rugby from them, and Dallas as well. I think those conference semifinals are going to be very exciting. But I think hopefully Houston and the Seawolves can pull it out there, and we'll see a 1 to 2 seed conference final there. On the Eastern side. Old Glory's been very powerful this year as well. Miami still trying to find, that playoff spot.
They're still trying to find it.
Exactly. And I think the Free Jacks have been on a roll this year. We've seen a lot of great rugby from them. Been passing the ball wide, using the foot. Potros has been exceptional for them this year. So the Eastern it's a bit of a toss up there. I think we're going to see Old Glory make a run there. They're having a bit of trouble in this game. But I am as well.
They need to make sure they get into the playoffs, cement themselves in the playoffs. I think Old Glory, which I don't know. Maybe I've got that completely wrong. Like maybe they are roughly as Chicago, who Miami can catch. But you are right. Like the East is tight. Nola picked up that win against Free Jacks today. DC now have this opportunity, Dylan. This is the line out. Like they have to convert this kind of stuff. As we watch this about to go in from DC, that's better. And here we go, right around the corner. Oh no,
they can keep possession here.
Tommaso Boni he's been brilliant. The former Italian international, now USA Eagle. Now it's about just getting into structure, Dylan. It's all about just getting into some structure.
Yes.
And then making sure that when opportunities arise, you take it.
Yes.
They're picking and going. Is that in? Is that in? No. Not quite. Buckley's trying to get this out. It's a walk-in on the right-hand side.
There we go.
Money ball. Oh.
Exciting try there, hopefully.
Yeah, it is. It's
Looks
just.
like the ref is signaling that.
There you go. Yeah, it was just given in the end. DC are back in this game, man. What do you think?
There we go. No, it's going to be a thriller for the end here. We just asked that question a minute ago. What does Old Glory need to do to kind of finish this game out and get this win, submit themselves in the playoffs? It's getting those lineouts, finishing off their set piece plays, attacking out wide when they can. That's what they just did. They were able to kind of bring that lineout down, pass it out for a few phases. Buckley was able to take it out of that ruck there, a little bit messy, but got it out wide, scored the try. Looks great for them. Hopefully they can get this kick in and then get this kickoff back and make this a little bit of a nail biter here. So
yeah, this is a really important kick for Jason Robertson. Yeah. Just to, if he gets this, they're then just within 3. So therefore, if they get a try, obviously in that 5 point, he's such a good kicker, but he's just dragged it. Just dragged it. Hey, look, Dylan, it's been absolutely amazing having you on, my man. Dylan from Barsal Rugby. I love what you're doing. I love your passion. Keep growing the game, my man. Honestly, I appreciate that. We all appreciate that. Thanks for coming on the watch along.
Yes, sir. Well, thanks for having us. It's been a pleasure to have us on today. Great to watch the game with you, and hopefully we'll see you at that MLR final in August in San Diego.
Yes, my man. I will see you there, no doubt. Take care, Dylan, as you exit off. We've got one last guest to come on. Hopefully we can get him on to finish the game, because talking about championships, well, he's done it. He's won a championship because it's MLR championship winner with New York and also USA Eagle, Nate Brakley. Nate.
What's up, Willie?
How are you, my man? Can you hear me loud and clear?
I can hear you. Hopefully you can hear me all right.
I can, you just honestly, since you moved from Manhattan, like I can now, you're just like, everything about you is just easier. Your connection's brilliant.
None of that background noise. It's great. No fire trucks, no street
How
fights.
are you doing, man? Have you been watching this game? It's coming down to the end, right down to the wire.
Mate, I've been watching it the whole time. It's been sloppy is probably the right word for it. These are my least favorite games to play in. But they all seem to kind of go the same way, where it's a game of knock-ons and unfortunate bounces, and sometimes it just comes down to whichever team happens to be in the right position at the right time to get that last try or last penalty.
Now, talk to me, as unfortunately, just again, another knock-on. Now, DC, you'll remember, obviously, some of your last MLR, or it was your last MLR appearance. I don't mean to rub it in. We just see the, here we go, some interesting player of the match. Yeah, Ardal's been superb. I got to say, the number 8 from Miami. But like your last game was against DC, the Eastern Championship final, right? Is that right?
Actually, incorrect. I was injured for that. So I got.
You had your head knocked, didn't you?
Yeah, no, I had my. I had an ankle, like a bad ankle sprain, so I was out for that game. So I played. That was against Dallas week. I don't know, the second to last week of the season. So then I missed that Eastern Conference final. So I got to watch that one from the sideline.
Well, I just know that you've had, at least in the past, some very good tussles with DC. They're a nuggety team, right? I mean, and again, if any rugby you have watched here in MLR this season, they've had some ups and downs, but Do you see them potentially coming back into this, knowing what they're about?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you saw that they finally found their blueprint that they should have been doing the whole game, which is scrum, 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 get pens on the back of that, and then kick to the corner and maul. Their lineouts let them down so far,
yes,
which has been unfortunate. But all the pieces are there, and all it takes is three things going right in a row, and suddenly they're on the 5 meter for what should have been a maul try, ended up being a walk in the corner. And that's there. And so they got 5 minutes to figure that out again, starting from a scrum. So they're in exactly the right position.
Now, it'd be interesting from you, just for audience to hear, like, when the line out goes wrong, there's numerous factors that could be. It's not always the guy just throwing the ball in, right? Talk us a little bit about what happens at the line out.
Yeah, so the line out is probably the closest thing there is on a rugby field to like a football play, where everyone has an organized, a specific role that has to execute. And if your fullback doesn't block, it doesn't matter how good your running back is, he's getting tackled in the backfield. And the same as in a line out is if the jumper's in the right spot and the ball's in the right spot, but the lifter is there too slow, you don't get high enough, and then you miss the throw. And so there's any number, you're right, there's any number of reasons these things could go wrong. But lineouts also have a funny way of snowballing too, where sometimes you lose 2 in a row and then you start overthinking it and you think, oh, they've got my number, I have to try something fancy. And it just keeps going downhill. And it seems that DC's in a little bit of that spiral this game.
It has, hasn't it? And they've actually got like key line-out operators on that pitch as well. We're seeing the 2 coaches, Pellicina and also Pellicina for Miami and Simon Cross for DC, always looking anxious as head coaches. I couldn't coach, man. I'm not going to lie. Like, I don't know about you, Nate. As we're watching the scrum, big penalty.
Oh, man.
Talk us through that. Did you see anything in there as to why?
It's hard from these camera angles, and I think the dirty secret of second rows often is that I'm there to push, and sometimes I pull my head out and try to figure out whether I need a backup or get ready for a line out or what's happening. But it's tough. I would have said that DC's had the ascendancy the whole game, but occasionally you get a ref's interpretation that's not fair to you, and you got to adapt. But that DC has definitely lost a little bit of that weapon that I would argue should be theirs.
Interesting.
No, that's fair. That's the tight head losing his bind there.
There you go. Some of the dark arts. Do you miss some of these dark arts? Obviously now you're retired.
I absolutely miss it. I love a line-out battle because it is a little bit of battle of wits and a little bit of battle of wills. It's good. It's kind of a game.
Hold on, man. We're going to get in the corner. Try time, Miami. No, he's out.
Oh, Benji for the brace. No.
Benji for the brace, but he steps out in touch. No way. That would have really sealed it. They need to try and get these 4 tries in this game. Just watch this coming out here. Somehow gets to the middle. Rick Rose, those lovely hands on the big man. Draftee, by the way. Yeah, he just steps out. Great tackle from DC. Oh, no. What? They've lost it back. So it's Miami's ball again. Sorry, Nate. I had to cut you up straight in the middle. What did they try and do? You talked about the line-out not operating. Just waiting for this now.
Speaking of panic.
It's a panic. Now, finally, Miami. Can they put this game to bed? But they desperately need this try and another one, really.
Yeah.
Go. Pass it. Matty, pass it. Oh, no. Is it? They really need this.
Funny like this, right? Where you end up in these situations where Miami could easily milk this win, but they want the try. And so they're playing into what could eventually be a mistake that loses them the game.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. But they also really need to try and get 4 tries out of this game, though, Nate. That's the thing. And it slips away there. That is the story of the match. People have been there. People have been like so close, yet so far. Some big hits flying in by the boys, I've got to say. When this ball probably goes out, as I believe Brakley, who's been kicking very well all day, does find touch well. I was asking you, Nate, are you missing it? I mean, when you see things like that, it's pretty intense.
I don't miss 80 minutes and 90% humidity. This is not the part of the game that I miss. But I certainly miss, all the competition of it. There's nothing like it outside, sport. Rugby is what I know, but obviously outside of sport in general is to to be grinding like this for 80 minutes with the boys and having a go of it, win, lose, draw. It's I'm sure you miss that too. Maybe not the knocks in the morning after feeling, but certainly being in the game itself.
You're absolutely right about that. There's nothing, although there's that weird feeling when you wake up the next day when your body is battered and bruised. Not as much as probably your body after being in the forwards, but like when you're like, I've earned this. Like, and especially when you win. If you've lost, it's like the worst feeling ever.
Yeah. Then you just feel like you've just been mugged basically, and you're like,
yeah, literally,
this isn't worth it. I'm quitting. I'm gonna go get a desk job.
Well, here we go. Miami still on the attack. And as I say, they need to win this game. But ultimately, when I look at this table of them in the Eastern Conference, like I think they need a bit more. Just having a look at it now, like they do need.
Well, and Anthem almost nipped Chicago today.
Did they?
Chicago,
I was going to ask. So Chicago won.
Chicago won with the bonus point, but Anthem was up until maybe 10 minutes left in the game, so it was very hairy.
Then, therefore, if I'm doing my maths right, Miami actually just need to win this, deny DC anything, and therefore they're still within 5. But I don't know the points difference. I really should have checked that before I came on. That is MLR Broadcasting Rule 101. Know the standings, and I've absolutely failed. But here we are. So actually, Miami, my bad. I thought, well, they did need 4 tries. But Nate, from you just finishing this game off as it happens now, like what have you made this season when you have watched it? Like it's been tight and the East has been tight as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the parity continues to improve every year. Obviously maybe this is Houston's year in the West, but across the East, it's really anybody's. And I think that the new teams of this league this year struggling, I think that's actually always a good sign that you can't dump a bunch of money on a bunch of mercenaries and suddenly have a competitive team in this league, that the standard is good enough that if you're in a cohesive unit, if you haven't played a couple seasons together to kind of get the feel of what the grind and attrition of MLR is like, that you're going to have a bit of an awakening. And so for all the talent that Miami has, for all the talent that LA has, they have struggled. And I think it's just that cohesiveness piece, and also the reality of how attritional this league can be, especially come week 18 or whatever.
It is. It's also the amount of travel these guys are doing as well. That's not easy. There's so many variables. DC then have this last scrum. Can they get anything from here? As no, they're going to take the point because the point takes it. That's it. So DC go to 37 points. Miami then go to 31. Chicago won earlier. That is it. Miami are no longer. There you go. The table in the East was just chopping and changing. I was getting it wrong on occasions, but wow. There you go. There you have it.
Oh, man.
That
is interesting.
What a rubbish ending to a game where we thought still could have so much on the line.
Yeah. This is the reverse of what I said earlier, where this is the boring part of rugby. Damn it.
I know. You could tell on everyone's face, like DC are not really sure. They're like, well, I guess the point is like good enough that we've made the playoffs. Yeah, I believe.
And again, not to play the stereotypes, but there are definitely some forwards their heads out of rucks trying to figure out what the heck just happened.
Yeah, someone's computerizing the maths, and I've just tried to do it in the last like 10 minutes, and I think I was getting it wrong. So I apologize to viewers now, but yeah, the boys struggling at the end. Hey, look, Nate, it's been so good having you to finish off this game. I mean, obviously you've had a wonderful career in Major League Rugby, and then obviously USA Rugby. Do stop by. I hope you get to another game soon enough. Are you getting to much rugby where you are at the moment?
I've been to 2 games up in New England. So if you're ever in the area, you might see me wander around the sideline, trying to see if they need any injury cover.
There we go. Love it. Nate Brakley, former USA Eagle and New York Ironworker, champion and MLR as well. Look, appreciate you coming on the watch along, Nate, and thanks for joining. Cheers, my man.
It's good fun, mate.
Thank you, buddy. So as Nate exits here, I believe there you go. We've done it. We've gone through all those people, whether that's players, former players, involved in social media. I mean, just incredible. Thanks to Ryan, Mike, Evan, Nate, Ben, Jeff, Lance, Dylan, Nick, Jacob, and also we had Pablo Mata on, Argentinian rugby great. It's been wild. I'm probably going to be waiting to hear in my ear whether we do have any last-minute questions that have maybe come up in the comment section or anything like that, whether that's still a potential possibility. But it really has been, it's been pretty mega. It's been a lot going on and fantastic to have all those people just giving you guys a little bit of a difference, watching a game of MLR, talking about USA Rugby and MLR Rugby, seeing the games that goes on, what players are thinking, who we think might be doing well, whatever it might be. I hope you have enjoyed this different type of broadcast here on Major League Rugby YouTube. And remember, there's another game on YouTube next week. That is Chicago against Miami. And also those tickets are available for the championship final in 4th of August in San Diego, Snapdragon Stadium. Who will be there? Unfortunately, not Miami, because they are not able to make it into the playoff last top 4 of their conference. So just waiting for confirmation as we are about to finish up this stream. Thanks so much to everyone. And I believe we are going to finish up. So I appreciate everyone who's watched and everyone who will continue to watch as this comes on. Available on demand, of course, there on YouTube. So from me, Will Hooley, from everyone on the watch along guest list, hey, that's been wild. We have had fun, and I hope you've had fun with us too. So from us all here, thank you so much to everyone who's made this possible. You know who you are. Appreciate you as well. Awesome. Take care, everyone. We'll finish up this live stream of this watch along special. Miami get the win, but DC get into the playoffs.
Yes, Miami Sharks recovered the ball. They identify a passive defense. They handle the ball very well, and at the end, Inciarte gives the ball to Ben Bonasso, who scores the first try of the game. I believe it was the best collective action of the whole game as well.
And a very good try, as we can see here. The ball's going through backs, forwards. A good break. Pass inside. Inciarte had options on the inside and the outside, both flankers in support. And Bonasso unsure of where to touch down under the post. Means you don't need a conversion. That was the moment of the match here in Fort Lauderdale. Fly around the league with American Airlines. And here are the scores so far in this round. Nola New Orleans beat New England 27-17. Anthem could not beat the Chicago Hounds. They lost at home 38-29. And we just enjoyed the Miami Sharks beating All Glory DC 17-12. 2 more games today and 1 game tomorrow to close this round. Today's standings are brought to you by Globant. You can see here the New England Free Jacks leading on the east, Houston Sabercats leading on the west. Still places up for grabs for the playoffs. Chicago, All Glory, Nola Gold, and New England Free Jacks have all secured their places in the playoffs, as well as the Dallas Jackals, San Diego Legion, the Seattle Seawolves, and Houston Sabercats. As we can see here, the team chatting after the game. And the player of the game, the player of the match is brought to you by Sports Break. Player of the match was
Manuel Ardao. congratulations on this game. You played a fantastic game, poaching a ton of balls like usual. But this is a bittersweet win. You won, but because of the bonus point from Old Glory, you guys essentially don't have the chance to make it to playoffs. How do you feel, and what did you guys talk about as a group?
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't say bittersweet. I would say bitter because our objective was getting to the playoffs, and with the DC bonus point, we aren't able to achieve it on next week. But I think the team stood up, fight till the 18th minute. Every ball, every sequence, every set piece. That's what we talked about on the huddle. We fought, and we gotta be proud of that. But knowing that our objective hasn't been reached, so now nothing. Keep working and working next week or next season, but keep working that this is the pathway.
And it was just inches. You guys were there on the edge, almost scoring. Everybody was cheering for you. And you mentioned next season, what do you guys look forward to the offseason? What are the plans? Have you guys talked about that already?
Yeah. First of all, you mentioned the fans. Thanks a lot. Throughout the season, the whole season, they were mean. They were present the whole games. It was fantastic playing with this crowd. So thanks for them. The ones supporting from here, from the house, from overseas, everybody. We were inches away from getting another try, but handling errors, mistakes, nothing. We gotta see the match again, analyze it, fix mistakes, and as I said before, keep working every time. I think that's the pathway. And for the next 6 months, I'm going back home, playing the summer test with my national team, luckily. So nothing. Enjoy some rest, and then full the tank again and go again.
Well, Manu, that was a fantastic game, and yeah, well, good luck, with the next game and with the going back home and getting recharged those batteries. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Manuel Ardao, one of the best players in the Americas. Very good at pinching ball, breakdown artist. MLR playoffs are presented by sportbreaks.com. And here we can see that already teams have already qualified. We still don't know how it'll fit. There's still more games to be played. 3 games in this round and the last round next week. But it's definitely going to be interesting. We know that Houston are going to play at home in the West Coast. So it'll be very, very interesting to see how this exciting tournament turns out. With the final played after the July International.
And we've seen Ardao before. I'm sure that he's excited because
Rugby join forces in a powerful innovation scrum that aims to elevate the sport using the latest technologies. We are already co-creating digital solutions to impact the game, the fans, and the global community in a sustainable way. When technology meets passion, the unthinkable happens. Globant, technology that dares to delight.
Let the bass kick. Let the bass kick. Let the bass. Let the bass kick.